Where's my topic list? I don't really have a topic list. I just go loosey goosey. If there's anything you want to talk about in particular, let me know now. If not,
I'm just here. I'm just here to be a part of your show. I just set aside an hour and a half to come hang out. I'm doing it. I'm here.
Well, with that, welcome to the Not So Common Podcast. I'm Pat Contry. My guest this time out is quickly becoming one of my most favorite people on the planet, Alex Faciane. You might know him from the Super Beer Brothers Let's Play show, along with Gerard Khalil, the completionist. He also does the Dex podcast about Pokemon, something I know so little about. Welcome, Alex.
I can get so deep into that if you want to just put everybody on this podcast right to sleep right away.
You want to give me a crash course on Pokemon? Like, you're about 10 years younger than me. You're about, what, 29 years old? How old are you?
I'm 30 now. I've crossed over. Yeah.
So 30, do you feel any different being 30 years old, or is it sort of like I feel okay, or the joints starting to get a little crickety? And
yeah, it's funny because it was literally like on my birthday. I was like, "What's that? What's that? What's that?"
It was literally the world calling down to you. Okay, you're beginning to die now officially,
dude. I was watching a stand-up special with what's her name, Janine Garofalo. Right, and it's a pretty recent special, so she's like kind of getting on in age, like.
Oh, she's got to be in her 50s by now, right?
Early 50s? She's had like work done. She looks good. She's like funny still. She's like still like not. She hasn't like crossed over to like PBS, like the magic is gone performance. You know what I mean?
Wait, is there a special age group for PBS special?
Okay, when you're the Animals,
Masterpiece Theater.
When you're the Animals and you record House of the Rising Sun and that song kicks ass, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a great song.
Now you're on PBS in 1996 and you're all in Hawaiian shirts and you're like doing it. It's not the same vibe. That's all I'm saying. Janine Garofalo has not gone there yet. But she was saying that she like had a pain in her like torso and she was just like, I don't know. I'm like pretty old now, like maybe I'll just wait, maybe I won't go to the doctor. And she was like, and you know what, it's gone, so whatever, all's well that ends well.
Well, you gotta take care of yourself, Alex. You gotta eat right,
sure,
exercise. There now, yoga. You're a Southern California guy,
yeah,
born and raised. We'll get into that.
Thank God for my dog.
Take the supplements. I'm trying to get Gerard on the supplements and vitamins. I recommend them to you. I can run down the list now if I really want to bore the audience.
I just cook vegetables. I'm just trying to mix it up. That's it. I don't think about it too much. Just mix it up. Don't eat the same chicken nuggets every day. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Let's keep the nuggets to like once per week. How about some grilled chicken? We'll start
or
there.
like some spinach. I'll do that. I just bought some pluots and some tomatoes from the farmer's market. I'm that type of Californian. Yeah.
Do you go to like Trader Joe's? What do you do there? Whole Foods?
No,
what are you into?
No, on Tuesdays there's a farmer's market where like
a true farmer's market,
a real one. Yeah,
I think that's very, very underrated about California. Yeah, there's about 3 or 4 different farmers markets within about 20 minutes of me throughout the week.
Yeah.
There's one in Little Italy here. There's one in Ocean Beach. So you could you hobnob with the crowd. You buy some flowers if you have a significant other. You get some Thai food off the street. Yeah, you can buy some fresh strawberries. It's a good time. You get some fresh ocean air.
That's why I pay 3 times as much rent as everybody else.
4 times at least in terms of housing prices.
Yeah, let's be real.
When I moved out here from New Jersey, I knew like New Jersey's not cheap to live. It's not cheap. It's up there.
Yeah, it's not Manhattan, but it's close.
Yeah. I mean, you're not. Yeah, it's not like you're living in Iowa. When you're in New Jersey. But I was not prepared for the housing prices. Like the rent's probably the same, but the housing market in Southern California is obscene, which you know that. Gerard knows that. He just bought a house last year.
Yeah.
Or earlier this year, whenever it was. But and I bought one. And all I keep hearing is like how hard it is to buy houses here and how much money you have to save. And anywhere else in the country, whatever. Couple of shekels and you're good to go.
Yeah. People make fun of me for renting in LA. They're like, buy 2 houses in San Antonio and make all your friends charge rent and you'll make money. I'm like, get out of here.
All right, Mr. Monopoly guy. Okay, I don't have that money floating around to do that.
Let me just invest $400K real quick.
Let me just get a down payment of $500,000 for 2 places.
Yeah, exactly.
And then maybe I can do that. I don't have that cash laying around in my bank account. Let me sell my gold NWC card and then buy 4 more to sell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In order to get that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's talking about the scale, I think, of it. But there are benefits of Southern California in some ways.
Beautiful.
The beautiful weather. There's beautiful.
Hollywood is here.
If you're looking for women, there's beautiful women. I'm told in Southern California.
Oh my God, they're out there.
Beach Boys sang about it. Beach Boys sang about it 50 years ago.
Yeah, that's exactly where we're from. Is right there. Hawthorne is that that's that zone.
So how was it growing up in Southern California? I mean, because you're totally a West Coast person, which I love.
Yeah,
and
completely.
I grew up East Coast, but I consider myself in between East and West Coast. I still have that Jersey edge. I still have that Type A personality, but I'm not like an entirely rude asshole like a lot of my Jersey and New York brethren.
And you know your way around like the vibe here. You like relax. You wear like the sandals. You know how to like chill out.
That was a big shift. Like that happened. That didn't happen until about 4 years I was here. Like that happened. I moved here in 2009. That was like 2013. I'm like, you know what? I'll start doing the sandals and sweatshirt look.
It's weird.
There's something to that.
It's weird actually being from here because I feel like when I go around the country, because I do that a lot, right? Like I visit places that normally you don't vacation to, even like just like random towns in the middle of America. And like everybody is always so enamored with the way that I am because I'm like an alien to everybody because I say like a lot. I like am like easy breezy. I wear light fabrics that breathe.
Light fabrics? That those Hawaiian shirts are? They're breathable?
Yeah, loud shirts. Like that's me, right? But everybody else that I travel with is also from California. But I feel like there's not many people, at least in the YouTube zone, who are really repping that California vibe. But the actual vibe is pretty like accurate. Like there's a lot of TV shows about California, like all the like '90s shows into the 2000s, OC, Buffy,
Full House,
like
San Francisco.
Yeah, Melrose Place, all that stuff. It's like
90210.
all right. Yeah, that's all like right where I live, like within 20, 30 miles of my like birthplace. And like visually pretty solid, like politics of high school, pretty good. There's a lot more people who aren't white in real life, which is a weird part of the TV shows that they don't get into a lot, but it's a good like this part of the country really does feel like a mixing pot. It's pretty good.
I would say that, and I before I get into a quick story about I had to defend California's honor. You'll be happy to hear this story soon.
I love this already.
Yeah, and like I'm a Jersey guy, but now I'm an adopted California, so, especially San Diego. San Diego is a very transient city. A lot of military people move from other parts of California, parts of the country to San Diego. It's hard to find a lot of people that are from San Diego originally. But one of the reasons why, this is going to sound silly, I first visited San Diego in 2008 when I came out for Comic-Con. But I always thought I'd like San Diego because of the show Three's Company. And Three's Company takes place in San Diego. They go to the zoo in the intro of the show, right? And it just seemed like a peaceful, chill environment.
Yeah.
And when I visited in 2008, I got a rental car. I spent about 4 days in San Diego. Then I did 2 or 3 days in LA because I thought about moving to LA. And then I didn't really like LA nearly as much as San Diego. I don't
think you would be happy in LA.
Are you happy in LA?
I am, but I feel like it takes about 25 years to learn how to live in LA.
Okay, I don't have that sort of time. I'll be dead in 25 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like to really get it, you really have to live here.
But I don't like New York City. I'm not a fan of huge cities. I know LA's not as big as New York City, but I like the size of San Diego's downtown because it's manageable. You actually can drive through it. That's what I like, And I will make a wrong turn and end up somewhere I might be killed. There's some bad parts of San Diego though. But anyway,
nobody even goes downtown in LA. It's like not the spot. It's like pretty haunted, like at night. Like nobody's around. There's a few little hipster zones. It's kind of like whatever. There's like a burgeoning scene, but it's the neighborhoods. LA's like flatlands. It's like not what you think. It's like imagine what you do in a city on foot. Like that's what you do in LA in a car, and it's like 10 times the size. Like that's how it works. In my mind.
All right. So my story about knowing that San Diego was a magical city, at least to me, was I had my rental car here, which I ended up scratching. Spoilers. Don't tell the rental company. I scratched it in the garage of the. Oh, no, that was when I came back the next year. I'm sorry. I didn't buy my place 2008, 2009. Anyway, so I had a rental car. I'm driving around the Point Loma Ocean Beach area, the peninsula here. And so I turned down the street, and it was like out of a movie because the sun was setting, right? So you get that like orange glow. And I see this like gorgeous, like hopefully college-aged woman. Hopefully she was that
41,
old. So,
hopefully 41 years old and just looking really good.
yeah. So she's like rollerblading with like a dog with her, like, or she was on a skateboard or rollerblading, I forget, but she had a dog on a leash, next to her, like a bulldog, right in the street. And I'm like, this is out of a movie, this scene.
Yeah.
Beautiful woman. She's on like a skateboard. Or
you were
I
like,
actually think it was like roller skates. I think it was roller skates, if not rollerblades, with the dog, and it was like one of those things that like they would have filmed for the intro of Three's Company. Yeah. Like they would have filmed that for like, here's a San Diego setting. Yeah. So at that point, I'm like, okay, this is a cool place to live. At that point, I'm like, this is cool. I'm down with this.
It really does come through on the promise of being that like sort of palm tree beach zone. This whole SoCal area, and it's I mean, like, you are very far away from me physically right now, and we both like
if only
are
we
pretty
could
much
be together.
Yeah, I wish I could just reach right through,
right through the webcam.
Yeah, but I feel like that's it. I feel like LA, growing up in LA, is exactly what you think. It's a lot more multicultural than people realize. I think most of the time, that's the one big difference. But it's like everything is spread out. Everybody like plans to do like one or two things in a day because you have to like drive everywhere. It's stressful. Like a lot of stuff happens in cars that you would normally do in your apartment.
A lot of what happens in cars that you would normally do in your apartment, like try to live. You mean
like get the news? Like maybe you eat breakfast. Like you might take a call or two per day in the car. Like I talked to you the other day. You were like, "Come be on the podcast." I was in the car.
Well, yeah. I mean, you guys got to get on that mass transit thing. You got to get Elon Musk to dig those tunnel holes.
He's digging a big ass hole. He's doing it. There's more trains opening. There's a train that's actually convenient to me now that is open since I've moved to this apartment.
It's like LA is only about 150 years back from the rest of the world getting, trains going and subway systems.
It's the big three, baby. They came in and they took out it's the plot of what's that? Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So maybe in 50 years we'll have a working subway system that on par with New York City.
I get on it. I don't know about on par. Because
if people don't know, there is like a semi subway in LA, except it only goes to certain areas. You can't unlike New York City where you can get to absolutely anywhere from anywhere. You can't do that in LA.
What if I told you in the last year you can go from Santa Monica Pier to downtown LA without getting off a train?
Oh, you can now. Okay.
Without even changing lines.
So that's pretty new?
That's like recent, but it's happening. It's popping off.
So they're finally getting there. Then my taxes will only go up $1,000 every month from that.
Look, I'm happy to live in this. I'm happy to live in this state for now. I'm good. I'm gonna chill till everything blows over, and then
before the sea rises another 100 feet and we're all doomed.
Yeah, in 20 years. Yeah.
Well, what did the UN say? 2030, sort of like we got to get our shit together before 2030 or else that's it. Game over.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw we're going to get the people, you guys are liberals from California. No, I try to follow science a little bit, and I trust people that know more than me if they're supposed to be a specialist, and that's just how I have to roll. Yeah. I can't pretend I know more than people that have grown up and gone to college and gotten doctorates in these things. But there was one scary thing that I saw on Twitter about
one scary thing on Twitter. That's it.
Well, one scary thing that alarmed me, like the 2030 thing from the UN, is like, yeah, I kind of know.
That's pretty alarming. Yeah,
I kind of know if climate change is we contribute to it, and it's pretty real at this point. You'd be kind of stupid not to. I hate to say, you're stupid not to think that something's happening. Something's happening. When I hear people say, "Oh yeah, I don't remember wearing shorts Christmas Eve 4 years in a row." Back east. I'm like, yep, that didn't happen in the 80s
I don't
or the
remember
60s.
5 hurricanes happening in 1 year.
Last year was pretty bad. And that's why, we decided to, we did we switched the charity event last year to AmeriCare just because we're like, this is insane. I remember there being a major hurricane when I was in grade school. There'd be a major hurricane maybe like once every 3 years, every 4 years, one that would like wipe out an entire, seaboard coast. Now it's like, there was like 4 in a row.
Yeah, it's a Roland Emmerich movie now.
It's it's a Roland Emmerich movie. We're laughing, but it's scary.
There's nothing else to do but laugh. What are we going to do?
But the point is, I'd rather overreact and want to find a solution and be wrong about it versus pretending nothing's happening and then die.
I'd rather I feel you. I'd rather just get a breakfast burrito.
But the one alarming thing I saw was there was a study done. They were going into these biomes, like in like these. Rainforest type areas like in Puerto Rico and other parts, and they were measuring the amount of insects that were there, and from 1977 to now, so like 40 years. Within 40 years, in these parts that they looked at, the amount of insects had depleted in some of these places by like, there was like 60 times less insects that they were capturing, and like they put out like these glue nets.
That's
there
so
was
many.
60 times less.
That's so bad.
So that means basically an end to a food chain. So if there's no insects, that means there's no lizards to eat them and reptiles. That means there's no birds to feast on all of them. And they said, oh, there was like this, like I think it's like a Puerto Rican green bird that 40 years ago, they were all over the place. They could barely spot them 40 years later. They couldn't exist anymore because there's no insects. So something's going on where the insects are like, you know what? I'm not going to have as many babies. I can't survive. Probably the climate changing, you know, and that might seem like, oh, who cares? They're just bugs, but that affects the entire ecosystem.
And that's your completely unnecessary Steakums existential moment of dread of the day.
But no, I'm serious though. When people feel like, oh, most of the bumblebees are dying out, most of the honeybees, that's you should be having nightmares over that, for people to be looking into those sort of things.
Yeah, haven't you seen what's that movie called by M. Night Shyamalan?
Where the plants fight back?
Where everybody walks backwards. Yeah, and they like feed themselves to the tractors and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't know.
The Happening. The Happening is the name of that movie.
Oh, here, when you Wikipedia about bees dying out, the first question people also ask, can we live without bees?
No!
And the answer is bees perform a task that is vital to the survival of agriculture, pollination. Yeah. In fact, 1/3 of our global food supply is pollinated by bees. Simply put, bees keep plants and crops alive. Without bees, humans wouldn't have very much to eat. And they're dying out. Like, this is not alarmist stuff. This is happening, like, right now.
Get ready to eat gel, people. It's happening.
Get ready to eat like that synthetic protein that you see in sci-fi movies when they wake up from a comatose slumber after 6 years.
Ironically, it's actually called Soylent somehow.
Is it really? They got away with that?
In a wry twist of fate, there is a real product that you can buy called Soylent. Go buy it. It turns you right into a soy boy, though. So if you start drinking it, you're going to start talking about climate change. So
if you see a bee, hug your bees today. I mean, seriously, you should be planning things that encourage bees. Like when I see bees out in my front lawn, I'm like, holy shit! Like these guys are great. Let's get more stuff planned for bees.
Let's just make the bee the new dog. If everybody can just buckle down and have like a bee farm, get a little situation. There's these bees in Mexico that don't even sting you.
Oh really? Not the Africanized ones that have eaten the other bees and.
No, there's a little community of bees. I forget what they're called. I wish I could like be worldly and bring the name up, but it's
Bee worldly.
It's like something from like all the way back to like the Mayan civilization. They've been like having these bees, and it's like the best honey in the world. I just watched it on Netflix. It's real. It's good. Just raise some bees.
The bumblebee is actually the first bee in the continental U.S. to be listed as endangered. So when I grew up, bumblebees were all over the place.
Yeah.
They were everywhere. Like I get stung like once a year as a kid, right?
Yeah.
My cat would try to swat at him. Our cat Mocha would have it looked like a clown hand. We thought his paw was broken. No, he got stung, so his paw blew up. He didn't care. It was adorable. We have pictures of his paw was like 10 times the size of his other paw. It was adorable. The whole point is that if I went back to Jersey, I wonder if I'd see that many bees anymore. Like I'd hope you'd see bees. I hope so.
I hope to see one someday again. I miss the bees.
Hey, we just need them to survive and have food to eat.
I literally live in LA. I live in like a cloud of brown, like death air. Like I was in London and I was like, what's wrong with my lungs? And I was like, I thought London is like one of the worst like air quality cities in the world. And
hey,
it was like,
really
no, your lungs are actually like feeling relief right now. Like your lungs aren't like hurting. They're like breathing.
I'm getting proper airflow through my lungs. They're actually my lungs aren't used to operating at 100% capacity.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Do you think that's really a thing? Like you don't breathe as well in LA?
No, definitely not. I'm pretty all right. I'm outside of the like main center, I guess. But LA's literally in a basin. It's flat all around. It has no water, and
air
we're just
can't
like
get in and out. Air's just trapped there. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just like shooting it right into the air. It's crazy. You can literally visually see it if you think to look for it. Like even from like with the naked eye from like approach to the city.
You can just see all the smog.
It's like a big brown, like it looks like the new iPhone. Like it's like a big brown like circle shield, like the Simpsons movie over LA.
So when are you guys gonna get all the electric cars to counteract that? You guys gotta.
I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to save up to someday buy a car. We're gonna see. I have a car now, but
or at
it's
least
not
get
electric.
a Honda Civic. Something gets like 40 miles a gallon. You know.
Yeah, I got a Toyota now. I'm doing good. I got one of those Scion box cars.
Oh, the Scion box cars. Those are funny. They still make those
Yeah.
with the little hamsters on the commercial.
No, they don't make them anymore. But my car company keeps calling me to try and buy that off of me.
They want your sign. Why are they like collectibles now? I
They're
saw those
cool.
commercials with those rats in the car like 2 years ago.
Yo, that's the Kia Soul. I almost bought one of those.
Oh, that's a Kia Soul. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
The back door of that car is so stupid. I'm not going to get into this, but it was a close race between the XB and the Kia Soul, and I went with the XB because of the back door.
The Scion, they stopped making them 2 years ago. Yeah, there's a little boxy little car. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have one of those. Okay.
Yeah, mine. I think the
XB.
paint color on it. Yeah, I think it's called shit brown. Is the color?
So I think Toyota's still making some of these models. It's a Toyota company, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, there you go. Maybe maybe people like to put them on. You know, they like to do them up with the dubs and the sound systems. I guess I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Is that a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like kind of hood to have a Scion. Scions are like the teen car. When they came out when I was in high school, they were like, "Yo, get a Scion!" Like it was like that was the vibe.
It's going to be a classic car in 25 years. It's going to be like, I got the 2013 Scion XB.
Yeah, that's like well, I have the 2014. So
Oh well, that's the better model.
yeah.
What size rims you got? You got those 28-inch rims? What do you got on those?
Actually, somebody stole one of my rims for reals. Like pretty
really?
recently. Yeah, I wasn't in LA when they stole it, but somebody stole it.
you got to put the lock on. You don't have the lock.
Rim locks? No,
Yeah, the rim lock.
it's I didn't like put rims on my car. Somebody just jacked my like basic ass rim. I don't know why they want that.
jacked your plastic rims, your chrome
Yeah.
rims.
Yeah, I need to order one. They're kind of hard to get.
Someone rip off someone else's Zion rim and give it to Alex. Come
Yeah,
on.
send it in. If anything comes from this, please, for me sharing this story on this podcast, please somebody send me their rims.
Pay it forward. Steal
you got a
someone else's.
2014 Scion,
And then
I would love
they got to steal someone else's. Every sign only has 3 rims at one point
somebody's
in time.
gonna give me back my own rim.
They're gonna find
I
it in the
was
black
guy.
market.
Yeah,
They're gonna have an autograph by you.
yeah.
So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, I defended California. The reason I bring this up is because when I went to Retropalooza, I had the 20-minute shuttle ride from the airport back to the hotel, and I had the same driver from the year before, a guy who's from San Diego.
Amazing.
And the reason I remember that is because it was a very awkward argument / discussion I was trying to have with someone from Green Bay that had visited the year before. It was about a 55-year-old blonde woman from Green Bay who was in town to see the Packers play Dallas with her probably 28-year-old daughter. And we brought up California because she asked. I was in the back minding my own business because I go to once I get to the fall, I'm doing a convention almost every other week for 8 weeks.
I hear that. I'm with you on that.
And it takes a lot out of you. And I've been doing it for years now. So I'm minding my own business. But she asked, "Oh, where are you from?" To the driver. The driver's like, "Oh, I'm from San Diego." And then this woman starts going off on California and saying about, "Oh, we're all just a bunch of just ultra liberals and." You guys are bad and all this stuff. And I'm just sitting there back. I'm like, oh my God, am I really going to have this conversation with this crazy woman? This crazy woman from Green Bay.
I have to actually be from California now.
And I actually had to defend the honor of California and be like, you know what? California is a big state. There's a lot of people in California. There's various different regions of California. Geographically and demographically, Northern California is different than San Francisco, which is different from, different from LA area, different from San Diego. California really can divide up into four areas, really. Even though those idiots want to try to have
they wanted
California
to do,
be
I think,
states.
3, yeah.
Yeah, but whatever. But I'm just saying you could though. I mean, in theory, you probably could if it wasn't all established with bureaucracy and if this was 150 years ago, you could have done that. But I'm trying to tell her that there's parts of San Diego that are more conservative than others. San Diego itself is very moderate. We have a Republican mayor. We have a lot of military.
Town. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not right wing. We're not left wing. We're somewhere in the middle, which is kind of where most of the country really is. And she didn't want to hear it. She said, well, you guys got to speak up more. You got to let us know what's going on. All I'm thinking about, oh my God, I'm going to have this conversation.
Speak up more about LA? What do you want to
or
know?
About, just about like that. We're not all these like, I guess, because when you watch like cable news and Fox News, they always focus on like the extremists.
Yeah.
About, well, look at these people that are, shouting down free speech and, the people that wear like vaginas on their heads and things like that. And so by people watching that, they think that's everyone in California is like that.
It's
like,
so crazy how few people in California are like. If you just drive out of LA, like there's a part called what is it called? The Grapevine, where you like go and it's like mountainous roads, and then you're out and you're on the 5 and you're in like the farmland now.
Yeah. There's Bigfoot country, Northern California.
Yeah,
you have the Sierras, right?
Before you even get out of that area and into the farmland, you're out of the bubble. You're out of the like little liberal bubble of LA, the Sodom. The
Sodom of the U.S. Yes,
the Sodom of the U.S.
But that's what I was trying to explain to her. I'm trying to explain to her that when these elections happen, it's not like 5% of a state votes one way or the other. It's usually like the most split you're going to have is like 60-40, 65-35. You still have tens of millions of people that probably agree with you somewhat in some respect. So you can't. I'm trying to just say to her as a life lesson, you can't lump everyone together and think we're this monolith of thought. That's not how we are. And she just didn't want to hear it. She just didn't want to hear it.
Generally, like the non-extremist liberal position is just like, like understanding, freedom, peace, and love. Like, who's got a problem with that? Who's like trying to like shout that down? Nobody, really. Like, that's not the problems that people have with liberals, is that they're like trying to do right for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not the feature of this belief system that people take exception to.
No, it's always that they think that people are going too far in their pursuit of that, but that's always like this, minority that is going too far over that. Like the extremists. Like I always say, it's always like the 5% on both sides that are probably, you just got to try to ignore them or make it seem like, that those people are just always going to be kind of loony. That's just, there's always going to be loonies.
And I get pretty political on Twitter, and I was
going to bring that up, and you get pretty political, but you don't get extreme. I wouldn't say like, oh, Alex is some hippie liberal extremist. No, you're not.
No, I just talk about what I care about online, and because of that fact, and the fact that like I'm not just like an average 30-year-old, like I do have people who like judge my tweets. You know what I mean? Like people come online and share how they feel, regardless of whether or not they should even be speaking from a place of expertise about the topic. Like they always come to weigh in, and that'd be like if I was going online like that. The way that lady's thinking is just like if I was to go online and be like every Republican is in the KKK. It doesn't make sense. Like it's not logical. It's not a realistic situation. But really, that's the problem, is people just don't know how to talk. Like that lady was just feeling threatened by something that you were doing or saying, or that the cab or the Uber driver was saying.
No, I think she was the brainwash. Like I think she was the cult of personality. Like she was like, okay, here's the person that will never have their mind changed about, or doesn't want to have their mind changed. This is who they are, and that's it. And there are some people like that. Her daughter was horrified. Her daughter was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And so this year, the driver, once I told him the story, he remembered. He's like, oh my God. The daughter came up to him afterwards in the hotel and apologized profusely for her mother. and I felt like saying to him, she should apologize to me because the woman was attacking me.
Yeah, she was like, your homeland sucks.
She's like, you're just some liberal, hippie extremist. Which is funny. It's a good thing about, the great thing about people is that if they think they know what you are and their mind can't be changed about it, or they don't want to be changed, you're never like, well, you're some nuanced moderate. It's never that with anger. It's always you're either some right-wing extremist or you're some left-wing liberal. And I've been called both online, by the way. I've been called absolutely both. So I'm just like, I'm used to that. But it never happened in person like that to my face. Like that's something that, you hear about that happening, but I saw it in person ever. I'm like, and I sort of got disheartened by that because I was actually trying to have like a real conversation with her and try to be understanding, try to explain my side. And she was just like, nah. I was just like, all right, dude. Watch your fucking football game with your daughter who's embarrassed.
That's what a lot of people want to talk. That's what a lot of people want to talk to me about when I'm in someplace like, a little bit less, liberal, is like just based on how I act, how I talk. They are like, hey, like, why aren't you out of love-in? Like, stuff like that.
Why aren't you making your tie-dye shirts?
Yeah.
Alex?
Well, how come you're not
Where's your
knitting
tofu?
flowers together? Why don't you stick a flower in my gun, dude?
Have you had people say that? Something similar?
Not exactly that. I'm obviously doing a bit, but like just like going into a bar sometimes it's like not chill to be like, hey, what's it? Like I don't even think I really sound that much like a freaking, beach bum dude all the time.
You have a Southern California accent, but it's not like extreme. But you have.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not like, hey, dude, like, come on, dude, like, what are you doing here, man?
you know the Valley accent.
Yeah.
Which does exist. I mean, I've heard.
Oh my God,
people,
it's right there.
I've heard people from the Valley that have that. Like, oh my God, like I've heard it in girls.
It's like half the people that I see. Yeah, that's the LA accent is like slowly becoming just like the like sort of like stereotypical gay accent is just like the LA accent now.
Oh, they're sort of blending together. Is that what you
just
think?
that like it's like here like this like surf bros like getting here from like this side he's getting there and then like you're also like coming at it from this side like it's both sides.
There's like a concentric circle of accents going on.
It's like all just going back to the back of your throat. But it's funny like. I always get so puzzled by people like this and how they want to just tell you what you are and stuff like that. Because in real life, like if somebody's mad at you, right, and you want them to not be mad at you anymore, and you want to like resolve the conflict, right? Talking to your friends about how mad you are at each other all the time and never speaking to each other again is not how you solve an argument with somebody. You know what I mean? Like if you crossed me and I let you know that I don't want to speak to you anymore, I'm mad at you, and I go home and I feel bad, you go home, you feel bad, you're like, I didn't do anything wrong. If I never speak to you again, I'm never even going to find out how you felt about it. You know what I mean? And so that's why I never understand why people don't want to even hear it from you. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, it's sort of a lack of empathy that we've sort of, social media doesn't help with that, but we're at this sort of moment in time where people aren't even concerned how potentially other people feel about something. Like that's not even, it doesn't matter to them that even if you disagree on something, that people's emotions about something don't matter. Like, so say there's like, I don't know, say hot topic button issue number 1. All right? Hot topic button, hot button, whatever issue. I might disagree with you on it, but I can at least acknowledge how you feel about it to be valid to your experience, even if I don't agree with your rationale for feeling that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've talked to you for years. I suddenly don't think you're totally crazy and wrong about everything in your life. Mm-hmm. Like, there must be some reason why you feel this way. Maybe I can at least get some insight. Yes,
so people have different experiences, upbringing that form how they feel about political issues, social issues. It's almost never in a vacuum. So I could disagree with someone on gun rights or on abortion. I'm not even saying which way I'm swinging on those issues. But in me disagreeing, I should still have the ability to understand where someone's position is and hear that out and give them the respect to hear out their position. If not, we can never even try to come to a common understanding about what we can do in order to bridge these sort of gaps.
How are we ever going to get back to talking about fun shit? Yeah.
And I fear that we can't even... There's less people that are even attempting to bridge any sort of like argument and be like, okay, we disagree on this. Where do we at least agree on sort of a common outcome, even if we don't agree on how we get there? And I don't even see us having a common outcome anymore on some of these things, which is so bizarre to me because they do exist. They absolutely exist, but I think they get lost in all the fervor and in all the tribalism, which is the cool word of the past 5 years. But I think that's what it is, that we can't even say, okay, let's just set aside the BS and be like, okay, where do we want to end up? How do you want to get there? How do I want to get there? Is there some way we can work this out and try to get there together?
The problem is nowadays it's so much easier not to
think.
Not to face the same people you saw yesterday. Like, when I was a kid, right, like, I didn't get a cell phone until I was, like, 18 years old, right? Like, I lived my entire youth, my entire childhood, I did not have a cell phone.
I didn't get one until I was 24.
Like, yeah, still. Like, that's a mind blow, right? Like, like, also, I'm younger than you. Like, when I turned 18, like, getting a cell phone, like, changed my entire meeting. It was like already kind of well, it wasn't a smartphone. It was still one of those like Nokia.
But you still could text your friends.
Yeah, you could
Like,
text your
that
friends.
was a huge deal, texting.
Pretty soon you could go online. within a year.
OMG, happy face.
Yeah. And, as everything gets globalized, everything's happening, people can just go to the people that agree with them instead of going back to school the next day and talking to the same people that you have to see. And if you don't, if you don't have that impetus to, like, settle your disputes with the people around you because you have to be around them, there's no reason for you to ever go back. You don't have to face your own mistakes or solve any problems that you create because you can just go to somebody else and talk to them, and you don't even have to know anybody's real names.
No, and that's something I brought up with other people in past podcasts, is that the internet and social media makes it easier for people of like-mindedness to congeal and to form like their own cocoon of identity and thought. So they can sort of like be in like their idealistic cave, right? They can live there. They don't have to venture outside of that. They've already developed their whole structure, their online identity. It's set. That's different than like when you go into a college classroom, in theory, or a high school classroom, and you actually have debates with the people around you. Like, I grew up having debates with people in college classrooms and in high school. Like, the debate team was great about that. It would teach you. It would say, okay, even if you don't agree with the subject you're going to debate, you have to argue in favor of the side that you don't even necessarily agree with personally. You have to at least form thoughts about these things. Just teaching you how to at least engage in discussion. And I feel that we're leaving that behind, because now it's not even debate. Now it's just, well, fuck you, my side won and your side didn't.
It's like, who has the money and who can trick the most people?
That's part of it, but I think it's also who controls the message, because the truth isn't even what's at stake anymore. It's like, well, what's the narrative about this event that's going on?
People forget that the entire country of America was built upon people who didn't really fully agree with each other, sitting down, getting pissed drunk, and like hashing it out and figuring out like your shit is dumb. Like, how do we fix this? Like, all right, like, let's draw. You know what? Let's actually like draw like a chart up. Let's like, you know what? Let's sign this. This is good. We'll do this. Let's make this. Like, that's what happened.
Yeah,
that would never happen now. They would just all go to their own forum and like tell each other how bad everybody was, and everybody there would be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they were so rude." It's like crazy.
There was huge disagreements when they drew up the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution between the founding fathers. That wasn't just like, okay, cool, all right, we can break for lunch now. We got this team. We got this government figured out in like an hour and a half. This is great. No. There was some. I mean, the whole huge debate between Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson about, well, this should be an agricultural society. Oh no, we have to, industrialize a little bit and have finance. And but they were all friends though at some level. They had to work together. Until Aaron Burr shot Hamilton, but whatever.
I don't agree with my friend, but that's perfect. That's exactly proof of concept. Like, I have so many friends that I disagree with, and it's a point of pride now. And I go online and I try and teach people how to behave, and I try and like rail against bad behavior that I see online. And that's how it started a couple years ago when I like first started being open about that online. And now I just feel like I'm taking out the recycling. Like, I'm not going to change the world. I'm not going to fix the environment, but I'm going to recycle.
Well, you do what you can do on a smaller level. So I think that's key. I feel like you've done something kind of similar to what Ian and I have done, is we've sort of cultivated a fan base that's more open to thinking more critically about things. And the one thing about Ian and I is that we might agree on some topics, but there's ones that we totally don't, and we come out from different angles. So we try to set an example, and that's not what we set out to do, but I think we've created an example of this is how we have a civil conversation, even if we disagree with things. And I'm not saying it hasn't gotten heated at time between Ian and I, because it definitely has. Earlier this year, it definitely has on a couple issues. But we're still friends, and we don't think each other is a piece of shit because we disagree. That, and I think we have to get back to that point where you're allowed to disagree with someone. Like, that's okay to do that.
Yeah, it's totally fine. It works out. You like get a good little like hug it out bitch moment at the end, and it's all good. For real. We all have, at the end of the day, we all have common motivations. We want to have a happy life for ourselves and our friends and our loved ones and our families.
Absolutely. We want to keep most of what we earn. I think no one's like most people don't want to give all that they have to the government. I mean,
most people don't. Most people shouldn't have to.
Yeah. And so that's what I mean. Yeah. It's like, most people are okay paying taxes. They don't want to pay too much taxes. Like, that's okay. That's reasonable. Yeah, get back to the reasonable side of this. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, I can be for gun ownership and not wanting to see high school shootings every other week. Like, that's
Exactly.
That I think it's like most people are on that
It's two
page.
separate
Okay,
problems.
cool. How do we solve that? You know,
Gun ownership is like 50 different questions. More,
Yeah.
100 different questions. It's not just like, do you like school shootings? Yes or no?
no, I don't like school shootings. Well, you're not going to take my guns. Well, that's not what I was
You're not
asking.
crying for my cold dead hands.
Yeah, that's
you
not
fucking Nazi.
We can solve this without marching everyone's house and taking your guns away from you. We can solve this.
Yeah.
And people don't even want to go there, though. They're afraid of relinquishing, or people I think, are afraid of admitting that they could even be a little bit wrong about something, that they can't admit that, I might have been wrong about this. Maybe there's a common sense solution here. Like, they're just like, no, they're digging your heels, buyer's remorse, whatever you want to say. People are sort of stuck with their pride, I think, a lot of times about things.
But you know what the good news is that strangers are still receptive. Like, in the end, like, I do this a lot online. I do it less now because I'm starting to get old and it tires me. And
you're starting to get old. We'll get into burnout in a little bit, but go on.
Yeah, it's just emotional labor to do it as much as I used to do it a couple years ago. But like, when there's like a political issue, hot button political issue, something big that shakes the nation, a Sandy Hook, you know what I mean, like a big deal, and there's a lot to talk about, I'll say something online that's like, reflective of my inner political beliefs, right?
Sure.
Like what I just feel, you know what I mean? And I will go at people who are like, oh, so like I'm like a rural like farmer and I have to like go out and shoot my dinner sometimes, so you want me to starve to death? And I'm like,
wait, what?
yeah, I'm like, no. And I like go in, and it's not because necessarily I want to change that person's mind. Sometimes they eventually get to the point where they're stop calling me names for a few minutes to be like, okay, like I get it, like I understand what you're saying. Okay,
but you're trying to set that example for you and the people that follow you.
Yeah, I just want people who are like lurking on my threads to see that type of behavior, and I say things like, listen, like I'm not I'm not in political office. Like I have no reason to be less forthright about my personal political beliefs because I'm not here to represent my constituents. I'm not here to represent thousands and thousands of people with different opinions. I can just speak freely about how I feel. If I was going to the Senate or to Congress to make a law, I am expecting to run into somebody who completely disagrees with me, thinks I'm Hitler, and wants to throw me in jail on the other side of the aisle, right? Like that's where it's at in terms of rhetoric these days, Put this guy in jail. This guy shouldn't have his job. This guy's a monster, every time. And in the end, like when the government's working, you're supposed to like have that discussion and then like come together and like shake hands on like a middle, like a compromise.
If the government was working, I wouldn't have to know about all this shit going on to this extent.
Yeah, exactly. And so when people are like, you want to steal my guns? I'm like, no, I don't want to steal your guns. I wish I could live in a society free of guns personally because I don't like violence, but like I also don't want to infringe on the rights of others. And when people who I disagree with, but yet I still respect as human beings tell me there's some ways to use guns that are good and, protection is like logical and like sport is fun, like with proper responsibility and care, like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to get rid of my guns that I want to get rid of today because I don't think that it's ever going to happen. So I don't think that's a realistic thing, but it's good to have both viewpoints because the thing that happens in the middle ends up being sensible.
So what you said was totally reasonable, moderate, and you're still people that call you like a liberal scum. So at that point, people can either realize that they're the ones that aren't being rational about listening to people, or I don't know what else to say at that point.
Yeah, so, you have to be willing to talk to the other side.
Yeah, and like I said before, I spoke about this with Colin Moriarty about even if you approach like I have friends that have really left wing beliefs, and I'm somewhere. I'm between center left and center right, depending on what issue you're talking about.
Me too.
When it comes to the issue. So I pull them a little closer. They pull me a little closer to their viewpoint, and that's really what it's about. Oh, someone's leaving a message. That's bizarre. I should have unplugged it.
You have a 90s voicemail machine in your house?
That was like the ghost calling. You want a landline just in case of the zombie apocalypse and the cell phone towers go down.
George Costanza sneaks in to steal the tape.
What was I saying before I got interrupted? So the whole
You're
point
talking
is
about
that
left friends, yeah.
so. But I'm sure we both appreciate it that we can have the conversations and we pull each other a little bit closer to at least understanding each other. Doesn't mean I'm going to flip and all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm going to become a communist tomorrow. No, but we come a little bit closer together about at least understanding. Okay, this is a human being too, and they have different beliefs than me. We have to make this work as a society, and that's all.
Exactly. Like, look, I'm going to come out. I'm going to come out of the closet right now on abortion. I'm for abortion. Okay, I'm for it. And like when somebody tells me I don't think babies should be killed, I'm like, that makes sense to me. Like, you believe that this is a baby that's dying, and based on that, like, the fact that you are completely opposed to my viewpoint makes total sense. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's not a crazy viewpoint to have, the complete opposite one of mine. There could be a reason why somebody has it. That's like understandable from my point of view. Like, I'm not here to like rake everybody who's against me all across the coals. I just want to talk.
So you understand, even though you disagree with it. Like, okay, I understand where you're coming from.
I'm not even trying to convince you. You know what I mean? I'm not even trying to convince you of my side. I'm just existing in the same reality as you with a different set of beliefs. Sure. And when we drink beer, sometimes it comes out and we talk about it a little bit. I'm not trying to kill you. That's it.
I don't think we ever had a drink together and abortion came up before. I'm trying to think.
Well, I don't mean you.
Well, we talk.
You,
we
Pat.
talk. Though it's usually about
you.
The bullshit of creating content on the internet and what's going to happen with the future of YouTube. But let me ask you this though, because you seem to be you exist on your own island when it comes to some things. But you also work alongside a partner, Gerard Khalil, when it comes to things. So. I've seen him sort of stay out of politics, so he doesn't mind if be like, okay, Alex, has he ever said, hey, Alex, you're going a little too far here, or you're stirring up trouble?
He does. Yeah, of course he does.
Okay.
But I know Gerard really well. I sit next to him on a couch and play video games with him literally every day for several hours. Like, I've recorded thousands of hours of that online. It's there. Wow. You can go see it.
Thousands of hours next to Gerard on the couch.
If you think about it, it's really there. Thousands of hours of me and Gerard. Some of it's even been like hundreds of hours have been deleted off the internet of me just hanging out with them playing like games, right?
Okay.
I've spent time with Gerard 8 years. I don't know, 6 years. I don't know how long it's been. It's a blur. But I can tell when the man is uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, I can tell. I mean, I feel like he's pretty good at broadcasting his emotions. But like, when we're sitting on the couch talking and we're in a situation like where you're live, even, which is like even worse, because even if it's 100 people, you're like stuck. Like, you can't maneuver out of something that goes too far. You know what I mean?
You have to get out of it slowly. You have to stop talking about it.
Well, I mean, you can, but you like, if I say something, there's no way to like take it back. Like, really, like, I've said it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't edit it out.
So you're saying when you've been recording something live, you've gotten political or social on stuff that Gerard's like, uh-oh. Like, what?
Yeah, and I think just at some point, like, I am conscious of it, and I'm like respectful of like the fact that we both host this show, and like, he doesn't fully agree with me on everything, but he also knows that I'm here to challenge him a little bit and here to be a different person than Gerard. And because of that, we get to some pretty freaking weird places. Like, I don't know how much you've watched of Beard Bros, but like, we don't talk about the game very much, and I'm a pretty out there type of dude, and just the places that we go in conversation is often just disgusting or bizarre or just super deep, or we'll get somewhere very real. And I think the reason that we get to those places is because we do the tilt. Like, you got to tilt people out of that like rhetoric zone. I think that's why that show, what's the chicken wing show, is so good. Hot Ones.
Chicken wing show? There's a chicken wing show?
Yeah, there's a show where it's an interview show, but every question they eat the host and the interviewer both eat a progressively like insanely spicy wing. You should go check it out.
Can we get away from this shit like the fucking hot pepper gaming?
Well, here's why I think it's good.
You know how insulted I was by that show, and I'm not trying to disparage anyone who was involved with that concept, but to me that was sort of like when that hot pepper gaming show came out, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I hear you.
Is this just sort of a show just so we can look at someone do a weird review of someone, see them suffer, and then of course it gets tons of views? I'm just like, what the fuck?
Well, I think it's two things. And I think Hot Ones succeeds at it more than Hot Pepper Gaming does because of what the show is.
I've never seen Hot Ones. I gotta check it out.
Well, a game review, it's hard to like get your life view as much. Like, you're talking about a game when you're doing the hot pepper. So you might get a more frank review, you know, which I think is funny. And I'm not talking about your frank. I mean, like, literally a more frank review of the product, because, you know, you're shocked. You get that endorphin rush. You're not thinking about your appearance and how people are seeing you as you're talking as much. And I think that's what's so good about Hot Ones, the show, is that it tilts people out of their comfort zone.
Okay, get some talking about other things.
It tilts people out of their like press tour mentality kind of vibe. You know?
They have celebrities. They've had Natalie Portman, Jeff Goldblum on this. Okay,
yeah. This is a good show. This is like a really interesting interview. They even had Alexa Chung, who, I don't know if you remember Alexa Chung. She's like one of the VJs for me. She's British, I think, and she was like a VJ who's famous for the same type of thing. Is like being good at sort of like getting people out of that comfort sort zone. Of like their things they always talk about. And I think because of that, because of the fact that I'm able to sort of stretch Gerard in the direction that he's not necessarily comfortable with 100%, he can trust that I'm not trying to bring down his empire around him by saying something awful. And I'm responsible enough to, you know, I'm not trying to do that. And I know that it could happen at any point, but I think that's an outstanding... It could happen at
any point, really? You can end Gerard's empire at any point.
I just mean, you never know, man. Like, dude...
Well,
James Gunn got fired off of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 after he made 2 extremely profitable movies because a guy who brags about doing this artificially, you know, brings up some tweets that he did years ago. So I realized that anything that I could say could come back to bite me someday. Sure. But I think it's a mark of mine and Gerard's relationship that he trusts me enough to let me go down these roads sometimes because it produces something unique. I think that's what is successful about our show.
You have different personalities. You know, Gerard is very professional. I'm not saying Gerard doesn't have fun, but he's like, you know,
he's very conscious of
he's super conscious. He's running it. He has paid employees. He's responsible for making sure his people get paid. He's has business deals in the works at all times. You know, like,
what's the word where you don't care about authority?
You don't care about authority.
Oh God, I can't remember it. It's I exhibit this. It's I'm sure somebody out there is screaming it, but it's that word where
the psychology of power. What?
No, it's a word that means like the way that I talk, even when I talk to celebrities, when I talk to
you're
people
dismissive.
Not dismissive, but like I'm casual about it. I there's a word there that I can't remember what it is, but it's a good SAT word to learn that I use all the time, but it just like I'm not thinking about that when I'm talking, and I think it makes people very receptive to what I have to say. It's very authentic. It makes people feel like what I say is very authentic because it always very much is.
That pretty much. Well, when I first met, if you want to call them internet celebrities, back when I was still started out doing videos. I mean, I went to SGC 2010. And there was 10 people at my panel that Saturday morning. That's where I first met James Rolfe, and I talked to him like he was a normal guy because I figured, well, he's a normal guy. Like, who cares? In 2010, James was probably the biggest person on YouTube, right? We argue with that?
Oh, my God, yeah.
In 2010?
At least, he's at least a contender, yeah.
He's still big now. I'm saying back in 2010, he was in the top probably 3.
Literally, everybody was talking about him.
Yeah. So, I'm like, okay, here's the choice. I can act like, you know, he's just, oh my God, I'm like, I can fanboy over someone that I wouldn't fanboy over anyway, or I can act like he's just a cool dude. He's contemporary. We're the same age range. We have the same job. And I did that, and we ended up being friends because of that. Like, I didn't, like, freak him out. And I think people, like you said, they're more receptive. You treat them like a human being, and you don't, like, sort of change the dynamic of it, a real human interaction, you know?
Yeah, like, if you're walking into a situation and you're like, well, I'm talking to a woman, so I should... You're, like, already out. Like, you already messed up.
Done.
You already like messed up on having an authentic interaction there. Like, you just need to go in and be you and not be worried about it.
Yeah, you want my advice for talking to women out there? Don't act like they're anything. I hate to say it. Don't act like they're anything so special you have to prepare to talk to them. Just talk to them like you talk to someone you're ordering a pizza from.
The dude in 40-Year-Old Version puts it the best. He says, "Don't put the pussy on a pedestal."
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking that, but I figured I'd let the ultra liberal say it instead of me.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll say the word pussy.
But that's the advice. Talk to them like anyone else you talk to, and they will respect you for that more as well because it shows okay, they're not taken aback by me. You know, I'm sure Alex, you've talked to many a supermodel in your day, you know, and you talk to them like a normal person.
We were hanging out with Jamie Lee Curtis the other day, and I kid you not, the third thing out of my mouth was like a crass, disgusting joke. And she and she was like, you know what I mean? And that's way better than like being like, yes, Miss Curtis, whatever you say, ma'am.
Yes, would you like that latte?
Yeah.
That was amazing. By the way, I still need to get the addresses of the people to ship my book to from that contest. From the giveaway, I mean. So I still got to do that.
I will wrap that up right after this. Thank you again for that. That was a very, very successful event. That was crazy.
It was great. I'm hoping the next NES Marathon as big a success. I had to push that back because I'm tired and I'm afraid of burning out even more. Let's talk about burnout. That's something we speak about a lot in person, about when we feel like we've been on the grind for so long. I've been on YouTube for 10 years. I've been doing this full time for 5 years now. But even before that, it was a grind, doing NES Punk videos every 6 weeks and seeing almost no money for that effort and doing it just as a passion, as a hobby, which doesn't last forever, especially when you need to keep a roof over your head. But do you feel that impending burnout amongst yourself or maybe your other contemporaries or people you know that like, oh my God, I've been doing this for 8-9 years, something's got to give? It's
already here. Like, look at the frickin' Avengers, right? Like, they're already out. They're making millions of dollars doing this shit.
The Avengers are out. They're done.
They're making $20 million a movie, and they're like, I can't do this anymore.
Chris Evans like, fuck Captain America.
Yeah,
I want to relax.
I don't give a shit. I just want to relax now. Yeah, I think it's the same thing. Like, people don't realize, number one, the number one like comment that I always get online that like makes me just like die a little faster is stuff about like, why complain? Like, you're famous, you get to play video games all the time. I'm like, bitch, I work 18 hours a day for you to believe that I have a fun time all the time. Like,
put that on a t-shirt, bitch, I work 18 hours a day.
Yeah. Like, it's not like, people need to realize that what they perceive is not real. First of all, like, it's kind of like wrestling all the time. Like, you're not the NES Punk like making like faces and like running around doing punk stuff all the time. Like, that's not like your damn lifestyle. I'm not like walking around like whistling the Pokemon theme song everywhere I go, telling people facts. Like, that's not what my life is. Like, I don't like go down to the like tax office and tell the guy like, did you know that Pikachu is not named after the Pika? That's not a real mouse. Like, that's not what my life is. I still have to like fall in love and like take care of my dog and like maintain my house, and I have a record collection. That doesn't seem like something I would have. Like, there's so much more.
Would seem like that in Southern California. So you're saying obviously you're not what you portray all the time when you're performing on a stream. Even you're performing on a podcast a bit. I'm performing as the NES Punk. I'm not doing the NES Punk faces all the time in public and everything. Yeah. Well, people know that that's a character. But what you're saying is that maybe with what you do, people don't realize you're still putting on a slight character at least. And
even when I'm just sitting out on the couch being, even right now, I'm not completely myself. Like, I'm trying my best to be so authentic. It's like my one goal.
Are you really not being yourself right now?
I am, but I'm also heightened. I'm also definitely heightened a little bit. Like, I'm conscious of the fact that I'm.
It's a performance still. It's still a product of your brand at some weird level, right?
Yeah, it's not like chatting with someone quietly over breakfast. Like, I like you, I like talking to you, but it's still like you still had to ask me if I wanted to do this. Like, not.
I get that, but I'm not blowing smoke. I honestly think if we had this conversation at a convention, it would be so close to this conversation.
I pride myself on that. But what I'm saying is... But that's
why people like you and me, because they feel that we are authentic. We are not... Even though we are performing right now, this is not an act. This is my personality.
Yes, it is my personality, but I am definitely, like, bringing it to just a little bit higher level so that people want to watch it more.
Well, no, you don't have to do that. You don't have to put in that much effort, but... Okay.
I'm not, like, whipping out my phone. I'm not, like, like, doing what we do in real life, like, texting people. Like, I don't know, like... I just feel like, look, people don't know that, like, not everybody knows about me that I am, like, what's the dude, 10,000 hours, Malcolm Gladwell. I, like, have that mastery of improv because I have learned improv for years. I have taught improv for years. I have performed improv for years and years and years.
You told me that recently when I was not surprised, but I was like, oh, I would never picture of you have gone into that, at some point to that level. That's amazing, though. And that gives you an idea for how to be on the spot in order to be lively at a moment's notice, correct? How to think on your feet.
Well, it's also a really good touch point for a lot of people, like, especially just from that, whatever that Drew Carey, Whose Lines It Anyway show is that's on TV that people, like, I'm sure a lot of people have seen that. It's a good way to think about, like, how you can be yourself and also be on stage.
Sure.
Like, that a lot of people understand that I think they're not maybe getting right away because like they're still seeing me in my house. They're still seeing me like chilling. Like they're like, oh, he like cooks food like right over there. This is like so real. This is so authentic. It is in a way. That's like the beauty of YouTube. But on the other end of it, I am doing work right now. I'm doing work when I'm talking into the microphone on Beard Bros. I'm doing work every hour of the 8-hour stream that I'm sitting there playing video games and listening to 250 people act like total idiots in my chat all the time. Like, not everybody, you know what I mean? Like,
Not
our
everyone's an
community is-
idiot. I wanted to put down your fan base. There's a couple idiots.
Yeah, that's
maybe,
what I'm
but-
saying. I'm like my community is really good, but like, you know, when you go into public and you wade into that sort of world where everybody's instantly judging you, like I went in on Piers Morgan last night. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw something about it because he made fun of men carrying their baby in one of those
Yeah, it was Daniel Craig. It was Daniel Craig, and he was like, wow, emasculated James Bond. And I was like, wow, it's really James Bond-like of you to fucking tweet at a way more famous person and like get like whatever. I just like got mad and I said something nasty to Piers Morgan, something along those lines. But I still have to like hear it from people. You know what I mean? You know how people say like, don't at me? Mm-hmm. Like just by tweeting, which is something that anybody can do, it's more work for me to tweet than it is for the average person to tweet, because there's a level of judgment that I receive or that you receive, Pat, just by having slightly more people looking at your feed, that makes it more work, because it's exhausting to hear people complain, especially because of what we were talking about earlier. Nobody's willing to like criticize you constructively. They don't want to like engage with you and like hear what you have to say and like treat you like maybe there's a reason why people are listening to you.
Those are people that will not. I've gotten people that have tried to be constructive on Twitter. Excuse me, it's not Twitter. Not on Twitter. They email me sometimes or send a Facebook message. If they say, okay, Pat, I had a problem with what you said here about this and this and this. And, you know, I'll respond. Like, okay, you made a good point. I don't agree, but okay, you know what I mean? Or you didn't understand what I said. Twitter, though, is just like, fuck you, or well, why can't you do this?
Seem mad. Wow, you're so mad. Oh, my God. Wow, you're so mad. Go away. Wow, I can't believe you're so mad. Wow, you're so rude.
I mean, Twitter is just the way I look at Twitter is that people have Twitter to me is that if people, I always look at social media as that I'm in a room right now, right? And then if people want to come and follow me, that's if they're allowed to walk in the room and watch me speak. Yeah. But a lot of the responses though are like when people just walk past, they're like, okay, your content shit, bye, and they walk past. Some people do that. That's, to me, how it is on Twitter. Like, they're not going to sit there and actually engage me in a conversation. They have no desire to. They just want to be able to talk at me and kind of know that I've heard it and then be on their way, right?
It happens on Twitter. It happens on Twitch. And on Twitch, it's worse because you know that person is actually there right now, and you're there right now.
at the time saying,
and
your content sucks, or I like this person better than you, or blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
And the whole time I'm sitting there playing video games and talking about video games, I have to think about how I'm going to be judged by some 13-year-old asshole who's going to ruin my day for 3 days straight because of something he said that just he didn't know, but he cut me right to the core like a fucking...
Oh, no, Alex. Has someone said something like that's bothered you to the extent...
It never in a way where I, like, remember it, but, like, sometimes somebody will be like, hey, like, you know, something, and I'm like... I'm so just mad that like what I did could lead somebody to say that.
Oh, you're more mad about thinking about something you could have done to set someone off versus the comment itself.
I'm more just like, I can't believe that someone is so flippant about like me.
About interacting with another human being.
Yeah,
that's because you're nice though. A lot of people that say a lot of people are nice, but a lot of people are emboldened by the anonymity of the internet, but also they want to get a rise out of you because their life is miserable. I come back to that, and that's why it doesn't bother me if someone says something horrible to me online or social media. The first thing I say is that this person hates themselves. So I already won.
I'm not sitting around like like I get on with my fucking day. I don't care about these people really, like in that way. I don't care about them like that. I want people to feel safe around me, and I want to put out a good vibe. But like what I'm getting at is I've started dunking on people.
Oh, you started really going back at people and saying, okay, I'm going to put this person in their place. I hate that term dunking, by the way. But anyway.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
Like, I've started doing it, and it makes me feel better a little bit, but also like...
Aren't you feeding the system a little bit, though? When
a little bit, but you know what? I don't care
You're feeding
anymore.
the rage machine?
Yeah, definitely a little bit, but I never am like just calling names. I'm never not like expressing my counterpoint. But the point being is that it's work no matter what. No matter whether it affects me and hurts me and makes me cry, which it doesn't do. You know, sometimes it makes some people cry. It makes like other people get abused more than me. If I was a girl, like if I was like, you know, female, just that one difference, like the abuse just goes up, you know, and it's a lot. And even you, I'm sure, are feeling this type of work become something besides manual labor. There is a type of work that people do in a public space where they have to represent themselves to a group of people regularly and on their own terms.
So is that what you're feeling burnt out about? Is the pressure of the performance constantly, day after day, year after year, and that putting on that act versus just the grind of doing the behind the scene editing work and recording work and uploading and going to events? That you're really singling it down to the performance or everything?
Well, here's the thing is that all those things are things that I love. Like improv is like, I love doing improv. I love like being funny and like witty and being able to like listen to people actually really hear what they're saying and like respond and play with them and make jokes. You know, I love doing that. I love writing. I love writing stories. I love writing scripts. I love making films. I love just editing things together for fun. All the things that I do for work, I love playing video games, are fun. But because it's that, and then it's also like I'm delivering it to this audience that, like, yeah, there is a small portion of your audience that is like totally getting it, right? Like,
sure.
If you're a huge filmmaker, that small portion of your audience just scales to a larger amount of people, and you can relax because there's a fan base out there that really gets what you're trying to do, right? But on the internet, there's no guarantee of that because nobody ever talks about you together. Like maybe you and like a few friends will talk about it, and there's 100 of those things happening all over the country, but I'm not making a splash with anything that I'm doing, right? And I'm subjecting it to judgment by a bunch of people who not only don't understand what I'm trying to do, but are abusive and are not willing to educate themselves before they try and tell me what's wrong with my thing or whatever. And it just feels like I'm working my ass off to make something that's good when I should just be like vlogging or like just uploading myself going around slapping people on the street. Like if I could do that and feel good about it and make the money, like it doesn't make that much difference to me anymore in terms of putting it into practice.
But feel good about it. That's the thing. You want to feel good about what you do. You want to have, you want to know what you're doing is something that you could, at the end of the day, when you're going to sleep, like, okay, I made something cool today. I did something that people enjoy, that I can respect. My peers respect that. You don't want to do a prank invasion channel, because you do a prank invasion channel, next time I see it, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing, Alex?
I'm just saying that the game and hustle of YouTube is starting to feel very, 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 very separate from the creative aspect of YouTube. And but
that's been like that for a while, though. I mean, that's...
Yeah, it's true, but like if we're talking about burnout, like I was young at one point, and now it's been 7 years. Also, the political situation has shifted in a way that I'm uncomfortable with, and it's a problem every day, and it's made talking even to close friends much harder. It's getting so bad that I can't even talk about The Last Jedi in all company. That's how bad a
stupid Star Wars movie you can't talk about with people.
Yeah, I love Star Wars. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about The Last Jedi, but I can't talk about it without like some dude like calling me like a cuck for liking The Last Jedi. And I'm just like, that's where the burnout is. I'm like, I used to like my Star Wars podcast. You know, I used to like going on my Star Wars podcast, and now I have to like go political. And like even the other day, a Star Wars writer got fired. I'm like, that's crazy. People are like, that's because you are on that part of that gay agenda. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what to do anymore. I can't. That's what gets me tired.
So when are we all gonna go and live with Norm on his cul-de-sac street? You know, where he says like, oh, you can buy like a house for like $180,000. Just retire. We can just do our little videos and make less money and just be happy, not to live in
I just want Norm and Kristen to adopt me, really. I'm a good podcast producer. I've got skills. I can earn my keep. I don't even pee on the floor anymore. I can edit. I can do tricks. I'm funny. I can cook pretty good.
Do you know YouTubers that I've already... I'm not saying this is what Gerard's doing, but do you know YouTubers? I know one in particular that if I said this was happening, it would cause a stir, but I'm not. that already has an exit strategy and already is going to be like, okay, in this point in time, I'm done with all of this. I'm getting as much money as I possibly can right now before I get burnt out, and I want to be done with all this by a certain point in time. Do you know anyone like that? You don't have to say simply who, but have you heard rumblings people that are like that? Like, all right, this is enough. I've been doing this for 10 years. I already see my way out of this.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Gerard is not in that zone. He's not. He's not.
I honestly wish he was, because I don't want him to die of a stroke. But yes, he's
exactly.
not.
That's how everybody feels about everyone who they like in YouTube, pretty much. I think now.
It's like, please don't die.
Yeah, that's like, we were talking about Steakums the other day. We were like, wow, it's crazy that Steakums is like getting through to us and just making us feel like we need to take care of ourselves more.
Yeah, mentally, more and physically. But I want to say, if you don't want to take care of yourself physically and eat Steakums, and I love Steakums, grew up on them, but mentally they were on point.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody should have an exit strategy, because this is not a tenable thing. It's like, maybe if I just continue being famous forever, I'll be successful forever. Like, it's not fulfilling. Like, I was watching a documentary, same documentary again, as the one with the bees in it.
Uh-oh.
Or maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It was about a guy who runs a hot dog stand in Copenhagen, Denmark. And it's like the best hot dog stand, and he only opens like however many days a week, and it limits the amount of business he can do, but it's like the best goddamn hot dog. His sauces are on fleek. Everybody talks about it. On fleek. You know, it's like, I'm a little younger than you. I'm allowed to say stupid shit.
You're allowed to say on fleek?
Like,
okay.
I could still...
I'll allow it. If I'm too old to say it, you can say on fleek still. That's still...
yeah, I'll take it. Okay. I'm saying it with confidence. I'm passing right through. But he was like talking about this business that he has. This like little... It's literally like, you know, like one of those stands where there's like a door in the back, and then it's like a subway train. Not even. Like, it's like a food truck that doesn't move. And the guy was talking to him is like a chef, and is like, dude, you're like an amazing artisan who's like continuing a tradition of sausage making that goes back, and you're doing something amazing with your hot dog stand. Like, what's that about? And the dude is like, you know, like, I don't know what I would do with all that extra money that I would be making if I did that. There's a bunch of shit that I would have to learn how to do that's not making hot dogs that I don't want to do. And right now, I'm not dead. I'm not in trouble. I'm not unhappy. My life is beautiful, and all I do to make my living is what I love the most, which is make hot dogs. And
make hot dogs. You make people's, at least a little part of their lives, a little bit happier eating a nice hot dog.
Yeah, and to me, rather than having an exit strategy, like, I hear people all over YouTube all the time just talking about like that place that they can get to be happy, and then they're like fine. The stopping point.
But you're saying they probably won't be anyway. They won't stop. They won't get... I always hear like a million subscribers is the magic number. If you don't have a million subscribers, you're shit. You don't get any recognition. You don't get those brand deals. Doesn't matter. And so I know people that are struggling to get there, and those are people that are a hell of a lot closer to me. I'll never see a million subscribers. I'm struggling to get to 250,000. And people listening to this be like, well, Pat, you should be really happy to that. What I'm trying to say is, yes, I'm happy I'm almost at 250,000 subscribers. But I'm telling you, there are people that have 750,000 subscribers that are not happy because they're not at that million point or more. And that will always be that rat race on YouTube to me, that I don't know if I ever wanted... I never wanted to get into that race to begin with. I'm in it in some weird way in that I still have a career via YouTube in some way, but I never wanted to be totally tied down to it. I'm glad that I'm not at this point.
Yeah, you gotta think about yourself as a as a person, and not as the avatar for a YouTube channel, because YouTube is owned by one company, and they like the whole... People get political about this, and it's like silly to me that they're like, you can't be treating people like this is people's livelihoods. It's like, you signed the NDA, like you signed the
terms of service. Yeah, they can do whatever they want. It's a
private company. They can do whatever they want, and they don't have to tell you. Like, this is what it says in the terms of service. Like, if you're worried about being a filmmaker, go make films. Like, don't put them on YouTube. You should think about YouTube as a really, really good long resume of what you can do. You know, like, I talk to Satchel about that all the time. Satchel is a great case study in YouTubing, and
Satchel Drakes.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't...
Of Normal Boost fame.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't not appreciate me for bringing... I'm just going to say a bunch of nice things about him, but basically, he never came into this with YouTube being his normal grind. Like, he has a career. He's excellent in his field. He's amazing at it, And so he had this freedom to just sort of like do exactly what he wanted to do. He doesn't have to worry about the algorithm. He doesn't have to worry about those things. And as a result, you're looking at his channel and you see something that is totally representative of Satchel the person. You can go back and you can track his progress as a human, what his interests are. You can see when he was busy, when he's not busy. You can see him making things that are at the apex of what he's able to do because there was no time limit. He didn't have to worry about catching the like demographic here or whatever. And a lot of the videos, like I think a lot of people find them alienating just because he's so smart and he talks about stuff at such a level and at such a speed that like if you're not there with him, you're not gonna get what he's trying to say out of his video. But as a result of that, you know, he's able to get a job hosting a podcast on Forbes. You know what I mean? Like, because they go and they look at his YouTube and it's like, wow, this guy really knows what he's doing.
So you're saying YouTube is like a proving grounds for maybe bouncing off there to somewhere other parts of careers off of YouTube.
Think about if I was just like going into the job of being a YouTuber with the goal of being successful on the platform and what my videos will look like versus somebody who's just trying to make good videos. And then who's going to get the job? Like, who's going to get any other job offer anywhere else?
And that's why I always said it's not necessarily the YouTube, but that's my argument for people that are tied to Twitch. And I know someone that makes a living off of Twitch, and I say, okay, in 5 years from now, what are you going to be doing? How is Twitch preparing you for life outside of Twitch? Whether that means you might get sick of it, or even if you don't, what if your subscribers and followers leave you? Or you want to move on with yourself. How is Twitch preparing you, building up your talent base to do other things?
Right. It's a platform. It's not a medium.
Yeah. And for Twitch, it's probably even a bigger question, I wonder, about these big Twitch players about, all right, you can make your money now and get out if you're in the top 1% of Twitch. But if not, if you're not like that Twitch sort of middle class, God, I don't know what to say to you. Because you might be screwed. You're on Twitch 55 hours a week and barely make enough money to live. Oh boy, that's not good a business plan to me. And it's a grind.
It shouldn't be a business plan. It's a platform. It's a place for you to show off stuff that you can do. It's a place for you to do stuff that you're good at already. People who learn how to be good YouTubers by like making the right thumbnail or like figuring out where to put the little circle with the fucking arrow pointing at it. Yeah. What is that going to do? How is that going to help you get a job? Like your dream wasn't to be a YouTuber, right? Like your dream wasn't to like.
Some people it is their dream though. Some people.
Your dream
people
is to try hot sauce for a living. Like I don't know. I feel like that's not a job though.
Oh wow, you're feeding into that YouTube is not a job. People in the comments, but see, Alex said it's not a job.
No, it's not a trade. That's what I mean.
No, we're online entertainers. That's what the medium is.
So you need to be entertaining. You don't need to be like, maybe you could get a job as like somebody else's PR person. Maybe if you're like really really good at it.
You can host some event on a cruise ship, some event. They can hire you to go on stage.
Well, I mean, okay, like look at MatPat, right? Like that guy, right? He has a show that is really good at playing the game of YouTube, and he's really serious about that part of it. Mm-hmm. And you know, I will as somebody who worked for MatPat for a really long time, I will say this about him: the man knows his stuff. Like I can say that confidently. He knows how to he knows what he's doing when he's writing a video. He knows how to make a video entertaining, how to tell a story in a video.
He knows how to engage people. Stay engaged. They're going to watch it. They're going to click on the script. Yeah, he has it down.
But he's
an SAO master. Yes.
Yeah, his dream is not to be a writer. His dream is to his dream was to dominate YouTube, and he did it. And now, you know, he used his skill that he learned, which was to learn how YouTube works better than YouTube does, to get jobs doing that for other people. And I think that's what YouTube is. I mean, people can be successful off it, but let's be honest, just like anything else, it's luck, mostly. Almost, I would say 90% of it is luck. How many good singers are there?
There's a ton, but you don't know about most of them.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So you really need to think about it that way. My
story about MatPat is people I don't have a good relationship with MatPat. I'm not going to get into it. At one point we were close, but at one point MatPat did an appearance in my Christmas video, which I wrote. He did a cameo, and and this is not an attack on him at all, but this is what happened. This is the facts. It was supposed to be like a parody of what would have happened, in the Patless world without Pat's influence or whatever on people I associate with Rue and the Game Chasers. So Matt Pat was like, let's see, what can I do? How about top 10 best breasts in gaming? So that was like the joke game theory video that I wrote, like that would be bad. Less than like 6 to 8 months after that, he did this whole breast game theory episode.
Yeah.
After that. And you know what? That was probably a gigantic video part in the punt. It probably did gangbusters for him and got him a lot of attention. So you can't fault him for that. That's the grind of YouTube. Some people make that work. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a comedian. I'm a writer. That's the stuff that I actually have spent my life learning how to do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I went to school for writing. I learned how to be a comedian. Like that's my skill. I like video games and I'm following this trail right now because it's paying my bills. But do I see myself as do I see myself as like good at the craft of YouTube? I don't feel like there is one. I don't feel like anybody's doing it the same way even.
In theory there is though. In theory, like if someone if Google reached out to me, I used to have like the person from, I think she moved on, the person that worked at YouTube. I had like my own rep, I guess, and she would say these are the best strategies. Like this has a better chance of success. It's like anything else. It's not surefire, but if you want to have a more successful video, yes, you're going to want a better thumbnail. You're going to want to have like the arrows or the big words or have the goofy expression like the Kevin McAllister Home Alone. You know how many times I see people, even in my genre community, do that sort of thing? Like, oh my God. Like,
yeah, go look at my channel. It's me on every video.
And it evokes a response, having descriptions that are good. So there is a science to it. But it's whether or not you make that the crux of your YouTube existence and how you conduct all your business.
If I wanted to be good at that and I wanted that to be what my job was, I would have went to engineering school, though. You know what I mean? And I think that's where the burnout comes from, is because everybody just ends up doing that engineering job like half the time at least. And I think that if we're talking about burnout, I think it comes from that. And I think it comes from also the fact that there's no guarantee that we're reaching somebody because YouTube is such a democratized platform, unlike CBS, where like everybody who's watching CBS at any given time is watching the same thing.
Sure.
That creates something that people are actually going to talk about. But YouTube takes that away from you. Making YouTube your thing takes that ability away from everybody who's on it. It's only, a small fraction of the people that are on YouTube that are getting attention at that level for the stuff that they're doing. And at that level, I think it's not the same as like being a TV star or being a writer in Hollywood or something like that.
Oh, no, it's totally different because you're paid up front for your work and you're paid a lot more, and your reputation carries you a lot farther. On YouTube, you got to keep cranking out that content. A good actor can take a year or two off and come back. And okay, here he's back. Here's Daniel Day-Lewis. He hasn't acted in 5 years, but here he is, and now he's winning an Academy Award. YouTube, you take a couple of years off, you may never come back. That's happened countless times.
YouTube is like if you want to be a famous chef and you start by opening a hot dog cart. Yeah, you can show off your good-ass hot dogs on the cart, but like unless you're really lucky and some food blogger comes along and finds your cart and puts it on some other better platform, you're just going to be a really good hot dog cart for the rest of your life.
Yeah, there hasn't been that YouTuber Hollywood story yet, right? There has been that one. You could say Justin Bieber was discovered on YouTube, right? And he became a huge musician, right? I guess that's a close thing you can say if you want to go there.
He was viral. Like, it's not like he was like, smash that like button.
He wasn't grinding for. You're right. He wasn't like grinding for 10 years, and he became huge. It was like Ellen discovered him. He becomes huge, right?
We're not going to go on Ken Burns and be like, the way that he told people to smash that like button was awakened something inside of me.
We haven't had that acting breakout from a YouTuber. I mean, it was funny to see at the end of Ant-Man, you had that cameo from that what was that YouTuber that had the cameo at the end as the reporter telling the story. In Jesus Christ, I don't know. You probably I don't keep up with like these modern YouTubers. I'm an old man, but anyway, that was the closest thing. I was like, okay, I recognize her. She's a YouTuber. She got some sort of Disney role here.
Some people are like sort of
they get thrown bones here and there.
Miranda Sings shows up every once in a while. Yeah, exactly. They're like a novelty.
Yeah,
It's
so
like bringing out an athlete or something like in your sketch show.
it's going to be. I'm revolving. I'm a broken record here, but I always say YouTubers are like vaudevillian acts from like the 1910s and 20s. That's
We're just trying to figure out what the business is.
But it's funny, talk about vaudeville, YouTubers are doing tours now. They're doing vaudeville tours. They are booking their act going around the country, like the bigger ones.
It's a giant cup out in front of them on the street is what it is.
The giant cup out in front of them?
Yeah, like busking. Like it's the same thing, but you're just like touring. You're trying to find ways to unify the people that like you.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That used to not be what it was about.
Sure.
You didn't have to try that before. And so that's I think the thing. It's like it's not so much about having an exit strategy off of YouTube as the job. It's like you need to just adjust the way you think about YouTube so that if that's not what you want your job to be, that shouldn't be your job.
Shouldn't be your job. So this podcast exists on YouTube, but it doesn't have to exist on YouTube. Like that's really how it works, right? So like the CU podcast, YouTube helped the CU podcast grow, absolutely. But a chunk of people still listen to it off of YouTube. So that's the way you have to go about it. YouTube is, I always say, it's not the end, it's a means to something else.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see, I think what's going to happen, if I have to look at my crystal ball, is you're going to see some bigger YouTube stars probably 5-10 years from now either get tired of what they're doing or say, all right, I'm going to try to do something else, and realize that there's no opportunities for them because they're just a YouTuber. That's their job. That's what they're,
You're not automatically good at acting because you're famous. You're not automatically a musician because you're famous.
Yeah, I don't see PewDiePie getting any Netflix specials in his future. Politics aside, I don't see that.
If you look at somebody like Jacksepticeye, who's similar in kind of vibe to somebody like PewDiePie, a Markiplier kind of vibe, like the man's putting in the work now, right? Like the man's going on the road. He's like getting a tight show together, and he's like learning how to do stand-up. But almost nothing on YouTube that he gained there, other than the fact that people want to see him do it.
Sure.
Are valuable, like his like you could. I don't know what you gained in your gaming knowledge from being on YouTube, but like I feel like you've gone deeper into the games industry as a result, and that's what you're gaining out of it.
Yeah, or I've gotten contacts. It's opened doors to conversations with companies and potential deals. The fact that I'm executive producing a documentary and my name brought some sort of recognition value to that, things like that. Like that's the way it's happened, which is fine. I mean, it's having
if that's what you wanted from it.
Yes, if that's or if you I don't know if I wanted it. That's what happened. I'm like, okay, this is a cool opportunity. I can help out with this documentary. I couldn't have done that without YouTube for sure, but I didn't learn anything on YouTube to help me with that. It just opened up that door to me.
Yeah, it's just so many people end up in this position, and then they're just like doing free PR for themselves. They're doing they're learning how to be an agent. They're learning how to be a SEO person. They're learning how to negotiate deals. Stuff that like the people in the industry have such an edge on you because that's their whole life is that like a screenwriter writes scripts. Maybe they pick up a few other things because they need to negotiate their own personal shit a little bit. But like when you go work on a TV show, you're not like, oh, I'm going to go work on Rick and Morty. And it's like, well, we can't hire you as a writer. Why? Because you don't know how to animate, do voice acting, promote the show.
They're a specialist. They're not a jack of all trades.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Yeah. The YouTuber who learns how to do all those things a shitty Mickey Mouse way, jerry-rigging everything together and getting by the skin of their teeth, is not going to be able to float in the actual entertainment industry.
Because they're not a specialist at anything. They haven't learned how to do...
You're going to be a joke.
They don't know how to write a real script. They don't know how to do real CG. They don't know how to do real professional editing, potentially.
And they think they're the same. They think they're the same as a TV show. They think they're the same as an action movie. They're like, we're just doing it our own way on YouTube. And it's like, no, you don't understand how to make $1 billion with 4,000 people all working on one project.
Sure. Yeah, I saw something... It was actually really good production. I saw this Vsauce 3 video that was like lampooning the last Mad Max movie that came out, And for a YouTube video, it had extremely good production values. It had like, 8 to 10 like cars they did up like in the Mad Max movie. It had some effects. It had some things going on here and there, good CG. But when I'm watching this video, I'm like, this is awesome for YouTube. But this is nothing in the grand schemes of what George Miller did for his film. Like this is not even a half of a % of what went into that production. Yeah. It's just a whole other scale. For YouTube, it's amazing though. And it's a great video. It was you learned a lot, but it belongs just on YouTube though. That's the only place you can make it. That's the only place it can exist in order to, you know what I mean? Like you can't put that in a movie theater or anywhere else.
And I think YouTube is the perfect sort of like, everybody always talks about millennials, right?
Fuck
regardless. Yeah, whatever. You're not totally safe, by the way. You're like just barely maybe not a millennial.
Gen Y, is Gen Y a millennial?
If you're like in your 30s now and you're in Gen Y, like you're like almost maybe. But what I'm saying is, I feel like YouTube is a very, very much like, everybody always says the problem with millennials. One of the many problems with millennials is that everybody told them their whole lives that they can do anything, they could do everything.
You're so special.
Yeah, never give up on your dreams. Here's your trophy, right? To some degree,
participation trophies, you damn liberals in LA.
Yeah, giving people the idea that everybody is right for every job, regardless of where you come from, that's a good concept, right?
Okay.
So a poor racial minority should believe that they can also be a film director the same way that like a upper class racial majority feels they can, right? That's good.
Sure.
But once you get into the shit, you need to specialize, because if not, you're just going to be bad at everything you try because you're not going to put in any work compared to anyone. Look at Japan. These people that like Jiro dreams of sushi. This guy's been just making sushi for like 80 goddamn years. You think you're going to be like, I'm a basketball player, I make sushi, I'm a shooter, I'm a gamer, I have a book, I have a fragrance, I have a hat. I designed
Wait a minute. I have a podcast and a book though, Alex. What are you saying here?
you have a podcast and a book deal, but they're all about the same kind of basic stuff. Like you're kind of like, it makes sense, you know? You're not diversifying if you were like, I'm making a Pat scent, I'd be like, why? Like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm like a perfumer. I'm like a perfume guy now. I've always loved that. I'm making a wine now. I'm making a Pat. I'm making like a religion now. Like, it's like,
hey, I'm surprised there aren't more like microbrews that YouTubers are attached to, especially in California and San Diego. I could easily do a Pat microbrew beer. I could do that in a second.
You know why? All the cool ones are poor, dude. That's what it is. Anybody who has any shred of like integrity or care about what it is they're actually doing,
sure,
it's a longer and harder road to success. Look at Norm, right? Like, that man has been putting out quality content. Every video well researched. He takes his time. There's no release schedule there, you know. But everything he puts out, like the growth has been so gradual, and now he's really getting recognition for that work he's putting in. You know what I mean? And
sure,
that's the road.
You know what the sad part is? Not sad, but the reality though is that if Norm lived where you live, it'd be a lot harder on him. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
That's that. So it's like, yeah, you measure success also by, unfortunately, where you are and things. And I love Norm, but it's like, there you can get away with it. This goes back to me living in Iowa someday, where it's like, oh my God, if I was in Iowa, there's a lot less pressure on us.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things. But there's also a lot of things about my life that I have access to and that I see every day.
Sure. That
Norm doesn't, by being in, Kansas City, Missouri, like that's a totally different world than LA, you know? And so there's sacrifices going both ways. Like, I can go eat any type of food that I want, and it's all good, and I can go, there's, stuff's happening.
What I'm trying to get at is this with Norm. I'm not disparaging at all. Norm's strategy still, his end game is not doing the videos on YouTube. The strategy, at least in my mind, would be to do a deal somewhere else on his content.
But what I'm saying is he's finding success by staying true to the skills and disciplines and stuff that he set out to do. And I think that's what's so admirable about his career path as a case study of a YouTuber.
Well, Norm's tried other things that haven't panned out. He'd be the first to admit it. He tried a podcast. He tried other things.
Yes.
It wasn't just this clear line for any of us. I think we've tried other things and to varying degrees of success. But you're right though. And Norm stayed on this general path of I'm going to do these videos I like, and I'm going to stick with it, and this is what's going to happen. And
he's an example of somebody who really didn't let the game of YouTube take over what was going on his channel.
But
and I think,
but that's like to your point before though too. Though there is a little bit of luck involved in this. So
a whole bunch of luck.
So let's just say in that other reality, Norm continues down his same path, and instead of his videos getting 250,000 views each or more, they do 20,000 views each. All of a sudden, Norm can no longer put out these videes anymore. He has to go back to his to teaching.
But that's why it comes down to the hot dog guy, the hot dog maker again, because because the dude is not, he lives in a small apartment. He has like a little garage. He lives by himself, but like he value judged, like I like to make hot dogs the most.
So I might as well just stick with this.
So I'm going to live the life.
Sure.
I'm going to live the life that making the hot dogs brings me. Do you know what I mean? Like my desire
the life
is,
that hot dogs bring me. That's a beautiful sentiment.
Yeah. That's what I think is my advice to YouTubers who are looking for a way out. It's like, what do you want to be doing? Do that and accept that it's not going to be easy for you the ways that you want it to be. That's what this job is. That's what being working in entertainment is.
If you want to work in the real entertainment industry outside of YouTube, don't go onto YouTube.
Or become a fucking producer. You'll get rich if you be a producer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no desire to do that.
If you want to be a writer, a screenwriter, don't go on YouTube.
You're going to get a lot of rejection letters. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be able to live off that for most of the time that you do it.
Sure.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. And I think that message has been lost to people who go on YouTube
because YouTube's too easy to access and use, and it's for everyone. So we all, like you said, it's an even playing field on some level in terms of anyone can upload content.
It seems like a racket from the outside.
It seems like a what?
It seems like a racket if you're like 13 right now and you like love YouTubers.
You're like, oh my God, I could do this. I can make millions of dollars and just play video games. Why not? Right?
Yeah, I got stopped by a cop. I got stopped by a cop the other day because I was running towards Gerard with a giant machete outside because we were.
Don't get shot. Don't get shot, Alex. Please don't get shot.
We were filming it for a bit, and like somebody called the cops on us, and so they rolled up and they were like, "What is this? Obviously, you guys are filming this. This is a cartoon cleaver. You're fine." But as they were leaving, one of the cops drove off, and the other one, like, once we explained what we were doing, he was like, "Can I ask you guys a question?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he was like, "So, like, do you guys, like, is it possible is this a real job? Is this, like, is this real? Like, what do I tell my kids about this?" And I was like, "Tell them to stay in school." Like, like I don't know. Like, this is a real job, but the idea of it versus what it really is so...
Well, it's like anything else. It's like you can become an actor for your school play, but that doesn't mean you're going to be in Avengers, right?
Right.
So anyone can upload to YouTube, but doesn't mean you're making a living off it. And even making a living off it, I wouldn't even equate like you and Gerard are you're making enough of a good living to live in LA, but you guys aren't filthy rich from doing it. You're still grinding away at this. So you're not the you're not the top 0.5%. I wouldn't even say 1%. You probably are the top 1%. You're not the top 0.01% that are, okay, I'm making $1 million a month on YouTube.
Right. Well, because really that actor who wanted to be in the Avengers wants to be famous and rich. They don't want to be an actor.
But you see what I'm saying, though, is that you end up in the Avengers if you work hard and, you push yourself. But
and
most
you get like 6 lucky breaks. Yeah.
Yeah, but most people that start off everyone starts off in that school play or doing community theater, but no one really gets to that spot where, oh my God, the whole world knows who I am. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
not necessarily Avengers, but any mainstream movie.
But I just mean like if your goal is Avengers from the beginning, you probably aren't like all about the passion and art of acting number one anyway.
You think so? If that's their main goal?
I just think people need to ask themselves, like, why am I doing this? What am I trying to get out of my job? Why?
I want to be a superhero, damn it. That's what
like if you're burnt out, like I am burnt out. I'm tired of doing this YouTube thing.
You
it's
are.
Exhausting.
You're going on the record, you say this is exhausting. If I can just do something else, do a quiet living somewhere, I'd be fine.
Not necessarily. I'm just saying, like, it is uncomfortable for me to do this at the rate that I'm doing it. It is hard on my health. I'm in crunch a lot of the time, right?
So then then how do you how do you then make it easier on yourself? Have a similar sort of, I guess, financial future success without dying in a couple years? Or
because after doing some thinking, I like making hot dogs the most. So I'm just going to keep making the hot dogs, and whatever happens to me outside of that, as long as I just make sure I'm on top of it and I'm riding it, I'm ready for whatever's going to happen.
Okay.
I'm not planning for my future. That's not as important to me as being creative now, seeing the world, having these crazy experiences. I'm not done with that yet, and maybe someday I will be. But right now, it's worth it. I've had 1 or 2 lucky breaks so far, and I'm going to see how far I get because I like making things that I enjoy making.
So you are on the hot dog. You're grinding, but it's a hot dog grind. You're doing what you want to do right now. Okay.
I think you want to get on that hot dog grind. I think that's the exit strategy, is to get out of the...
do what you love to do. It doesn't kill you, but right now you said you're burnt out, though. I'm trying to get you on the hot dog grind, but that hot dog guy is not burnt out. I want you to be on the grind, but not burnt out. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I realized I hit a point where I was like, Jesus Christ, you know? And I had to adjust the way that I think. I started exercising more because I like being outside. I like walking around. I like feeling healthy. I like eating good food. So I started cooking for myself, and I'm trying to eat healthier, and like that's important to me. And like I love my girlfriend. I spend time with her. Like I make sure that I'm not working too hard to spend time with her because that's more important to me
Sure.
than playing the YouTube game, you know, because I just want to make good videos. And so as I'm coming back into launching my Dex channel, for example, like I'm thinking much more about like, what can I do that's going to make this worth my time, that I don't die without thinking about like, how is this going to skyrocket me to 6 million subscribers? Like, I don't care about that anymore.
So you're gonna relaunch your Pokemon stuff.
Well, I'm just doing, it's no promises 2018, but I'm working on it. I'm doing it. I was talking about with you yesterday. I was about to export out the first episode of the new series. I figured it out. We did a huge shoot. It's all great. My computer explodes in my face, right? Mm-hmm. It's extremely disheartening, but like, you know, I'm just doing things that I'm still passionate about, and I'm just trying to make that happen for myself, and I'm trying to slowly lasso my life towards something that I'm doing stuff that I enjoy more.
I'm in the same boat, except I have like 8 years on you, so you're smarter than me. You figured it out sooner. But then again, we've been on YouTube the same amount of times. Maybe that's what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah, you just got to get chewed up for a little while.
I had someone 2 months ago to say to me, no joke, they said to me, how have you not had a stroke yet? And they weren't even kidding. They were serious. And I thought, well, that's a funny thing to say to someone. But I started to think about the amount of stress I put myself under 2015, definitely 16 and 17. And some of this year before I figured out I can't do this anymore at this pace. And they were absolutely right. Like it was an ungodly sort of amount of stuff I was doing the past couple years where I was just like, okay, I have to take a step back. That's one of the reasons I postponed the marathon, because last year I should have postponed it. I don't know if you saw the condition I was in physically last year at the marathon when you came
were a little
over.
on edge. Yeah, you were a little bit not ready to do the marathon.
Do you know I picked up my keys in my house the day before? So I had just gone through the whole...
That's insane! Why did you do that?
So I went through
God.
So while I'm planning out the whole marathon and getting that there, getting the sponsors...
Closing a house.
I'm closing a fucking house. A good-sized deal. I'm closing that. I'm still going to conventions. I had 2 conventions the month before. I had Portland. I was trying to close my house while I was at Portland. And in all that, I'm putting together this charity event, which I'm happy to do. This isn't woe is Pat.
It's fun to do the charity event. It's good to raise money for charity.
But I don't enjoy it as much as I should. I don't remember a goddamn thing about it. And by the way, I'm missing the video from the event, so anyone watching this, if you have the raw video, I thought I downloaded it from Twitch. I could have sworn I did. I can't find it on my hard drive, so I'm freaking out about that. Anyway, I can't do it anymore because even if I physically can, I think I'm going to have a mental break at some point, like a bad one. Or my health is just going to fail entirely.
I've had easily 200 panic attacks, true anxiety attacks, at least easily 200 directly related only to my job.
200? You're not bullshitting. Like,
at least.
You're talking
it is
like, okay.
Awful.
So you're talking, you've been working for like 7 years on YouTube. We'll just say 8 years. So Pat math, 200 divided by 8. What is that? 25. You've had 25 panic attacks a year or twice a month.
Oh yeah, easy, probably more.
Alex, baby, come on, baby, you can't do this to yourself.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like this is the growth. This is how you watch social media people mature. It's like I was looking at myself and I'm like, so much of what I'm doing for my job is totally counterintuitive. It's never going to be useful if I ever do anything besides YouTube. It's totally pointless. I'm learning how to play like a really complex 90s JRPG with like endless amounts of rules.
Social media JRPG.
For no fucking reason. I want to write scripts. I want to make videos. I want to have fun. I want to travel. I want to learn. I want to teach people things. I want to make
fuck it, Alex. Me and you are gonna travel the world and do a new version of Parts Unknown.
Yeah.
With Pat and Alex. We're gonna do that. We're gonna relax. We're gonna learn about the culture of the world. We're gonna teach people about it and have some good food and have fun. We're gonna do that.
And I'm willing to suffer a little bit to make stuff like that. That makes me, the little postcard in the taxi cab, and you're just like, just a few more weeks of this driving, and I'll be there in Barbados with you, baby. Like more stuff like that in the YouTuber's life. More goals. The goal can't just be the biggest YouTuber, because that's a stupid goal.
And plus, it's a never-ending, rat wheel, right? You're just going around the wheel, and you're always trying to keep up. The same thing with Twitch. Twitch, whenever I think about streaming more on Twitch and like, oh, I'm going to start streaming, I'm going to stream twice a week, I'm horrified about getting locked into a system that I'm forced to do that, knowing that if I give it up, it's going to be hard to make it back. But in the meantime, by doing it, I've given up all the time to do other opportunities that mean a lot more to me in that current space. Can I tell
you about my Twitch experience real quick too?
Okay. And you do live streaming. You do the Facebook thing, so you do this stuff.
Well, I do live streaming on Facebook every day for 2 hours, but that's not really the same thing, because that's like, there's a crew. There's like a producer running the stream. I'm hanging out with Gerard. Mm-hmm. It's us kind of just like, there's a camera on us while we're doing Beard Bros, right?
Sure.
It's not really like the same thing as Twitch, but I've been a partnered Twitch streamer for like years, right? But I only have streamed maybe like 30 times ever total. But in the last like month or two, it's been like the majority of those streams, and I'm not making promises. There's no grind. I'm not trying to climb a ladder. I just decided I'm gonna go on Twitch. I'm gonna do it my own way. I'm a big Dragon Quest fan, as you might know. I'm like crazy about Dragon Quest. So I just was like, I'm gonna play Dragon Quest 11 online with people whenever I want to. Only I'm not gonna put a schedule up. I'm not gonna use Twitch the way that Twitch swears you have to use Twitch. And I made, in 5 streams, and granted, I have an advantage because I'm a known person. I'm coming from YouTube, whatever. But this is more relevant to you then. It's like I made more from those few streams that I've done so far at infrequent times, only when I want to, only when I'm feeling good. None of them was more than 4 hours. I only played the game in each stream, maybe 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours of gaming total in the stream. And I made more than I would have on a month of daily YouTube videos on my old channel.
Sure.
And like, it's not good. It's not a good business model. It's not growth, but it does satisfy the hot dog maker in me.
Okay. As long as your hot dog making is satisfied doing that, then that's fine.
What I'm saying is, I think that the reason that I'm succeeding at it is because I'm good at the stuff that it requires you to be good at to make people want to watch you.
Sure.
Like
you're lively, you're happy, you're have an upbeat attitude. It's a Southern California thing going back a little bit,
Well, also my 10,000 hours of improv training. You know what I mean?
Like
I'm capitalizing off the skills that I have to do things that I'm enjoying, and that is how you should be an entertainer. If you want to be a businessman, that's a different job. It's an equally valid job. But if we're talking about happiness, you just kind of have to decide what kind of guy you are and what you want to be doing. Otherwise, you shouldn't be in this business, because this business is not a fair business, and it's not one that is built on the idea that everybody in it gets to make a good living.
Sure. That's
just the reality of entertainment.
It's a meritocracy insofar as any other entertainment medium is. It's all about the breaks you get.
Yeah, it should be when there's not a company running the place where you watch it.
Sure. So, man, okay, I think that's our future, Alex. We're gonna start doing live stream Twitch events. We're gonna go on vacation. We're gonna go to Italy.
If you find anyone who wants to fund a travel show with anyone in it, I will be in that show. I will do anything. I will go anywhere. I will eat anything. I'm not afraid of anyone.
Let's do it.
I'm the guy.
Let's do a Kickstarter. Fuck it. Let's do it next year. And then next year.
I'm down.
The Pat and Alex World Tour. Let's fucking do it.
I'll be the ultimate guy that crazy people talk to in bars. I will be that guy all over the world.
We'll hit up we'll go to Great Britain. We'll go to Italy. We'll go to South Africa. We'll go to Egypt. We'll go to Turkey. We'll go to Japan. We'll go to Australia. We'll do a whole 3-month tour. And it'll bankrupt us. We'll just get bankrupted. But it'll be the best experience ever.
But wouldn't it be amazing if it was successful?
Honestly, I think it would be. I don't see how people would be like, holy shit, they're at the Sistine Chapel now. Like, holy shit.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I think there is value. It's like an instant value to just being happy with the thing you're doing. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, if I was like, hey, Pat, let's go on a bike tour across America. That would be great. It's like, you know what? I would never do that, honestly, me personally. But if it was the same, it's so much more work. But if it was maybe this would be worth it. It doesn't matter what the numbers are, as long as you're I want to do this. And people forget that because that's the kind of thinking that capitalism begets.
Sure, but you also need money in order to experiment, right? You need money in order to try these things and potentially fail.
You also need to not be afraid of being in a position that's not ideal. To really flourish in this way of thinking.
No, that's hey, true enough. You take a risk, right? Risk not.
You have to.
Risk not want not what? That's not the phrase. No
risk not want
no
not.
No, I screwed up two things. I'm hungry and I'm tired. No risk, no reward. That's the phrase.
Yeah, you need some steakums is what you need.
I need some steakums. Growing up on the East Coast, definitely need some steakums.
I think we all need a little steakums in our life.
Let's put together a fucking Kickstarter a year from now. We'll say, you know what?
I will have these meetings.
The Pat and Alex World Tour. We'll do it. We're gonna live stream. We'll do videos. And then we'll see what happens. Maybe people hate me, they like you, or they like me, hate you. We do something with it.
I don't care. I just want to travel. I just want to hang out and eat food and go places.
I haven't been on a real vacation in 10 years. I'm serious, an actual vacation where I don't have to do a convention or worry about any sort of work thing. It's just a week of just relaxing. But I'll relax and talk to people. If someone wants to shoot it on a camera, I'll fucking do that. That's not work to me. That's not work. That's not work at all.
That's beautiful, though. That's where you want to get. You want to get to that point.
That's
what your job should be. That's where your job should be on. If you found some success on YouTube, change. Become what you want to be.
NES Punk videos are fucking work. They're 80 hours of work that don't make back the 80 hours of time.
Yeah, but to you, right? You want it. You want that house. You want that lifestyle. You want it. It's important to you. So you're doing that. You're living that version of your dream. You realized sometime this year, I'm going to have to push back the marathon because something that is more important to me takes precedence, and I'm not just going to do both because I need to hurt myself to succeed in this world.
Sure. That was a big thing to me. And Ian pushed me to do that. He's been pushing that for 3-4 years to say, okay, push it or just cancel it this year. I said, I can't cancel it. People are expecting it. And the issue is you know what? I have to at least postpone it because if not, I'm going to die. I'm in a better place now where I'm distressed, where I'm like, okay, I feel relaxed now. I want to feel relaxed more often than I have been. I want to feel like I'm not going to be pushing myself to the brink like I've been.
It's crazy how often it has to come down to the fucking specter of death before we break out of it.
That's why I always marvel and also worry about Gerard doing one video a week for 1,000 years. I'm like, dude, Gerard.
We're a big team. Don't forget.
Well,
we're a big team.
I want you guys to be able to relax and enjoy life. That's all a little bit. I mean,
we're all starting to feel it. Gerard most of all. Believe me, that guy.
I hope not telling people how the sausage is being made, but when I see Gerard go out to these conventions and he's playing these games real late because he's working on a video, I'm like, oh my God, this is constant work. It's constant work.
The man
it's a machine.
Does as he pleases. Yeah. That's it.
It's a fucking machine. So I guess the point we're all trying to make is that maybe we have to be less of a machine at some point
Be a man
Maybe.
more than a machine.
Be more than a machine.
Be more man than machine.
He's more machine now than man. All right, Alex.
Well, be more human.
This has been great, and I fucking love you, and I really mean that.
I love you too, Pat.
And I really didn't really talk to you a lot until Norway last year when you're telling me how Nintendo should start making NES cartridges again. And I told you were crazy. Oh no, you told me Nintendo should make the old NES again. I told you were nuts when you told me that.
Yeah, I think I piss a lot of people off. I think.
Really?
In the industry, like in YouTubers, I think people are annoyed by how, like, playful I am. I wish I could remember this fucking word that I was trying to think of.
Has someone told
earlier.
you this, that people are annoyed that you're playful?
No. I think a lot of the time people get the wrong. It's almost there. That is like the word almost. What is the
carefree?
It's when you're like purposefully like to like the conventions of modern society. People get annoyed by that personality type a lot of the time, but I think that there's a way to do that and be annoying and do it for like, I'm up my own ass. But really, I'm coming from a point. I'm coming from a place of I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to take care of themselves, and I want people to be able to. I want to empower people to find things out about themselves and each other. I want to create that vibe, you know, peace and love and shit.
You want people to find their inner self, be at peace with themselves, and do good things.
I want people to be happy without getting shit. I want people to just be happy on their own. Find a way to be happy without
consumerism, without the rat race,
success.
Or needing the new iPhone fucking 11.
I'm not anti-consumerist. I literally bought an iMac today, and I have an iPhone X. I'm not anti-consumerist. I'm not.
But you don't need to be a consumerist to be happy. That's.
I'm just saying that's not the end all be all. Like
Sure.
that's not why I'm happy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying, and that's the vibe I'm trying to put out.
Well, it's that Southern California vibe. So, all right. So, look out for 2020 for Pat and Alex Rule the World. That series coming to
Dude, the Olympics
Amazon
are in
Prime.
Tokyo, man. 2020.
2020. We're gonna make
2020
it happen.
Olympics are in Tokyo. Let's make it happen.
We're gonna fucking do it.
Make it happen.
I will go. I'm there if you're there. I wanted to go.
Let's join a bobsled team.
I wanted to go to Japan for years. That's a great excuse to go.
Yeah, we're both pretty Italian. We could get on the Italian bobsled team.
Do they have one?
I doubt. Maybe. I don't know.
That's not summer. That's Winter Olympics, or not summer.
I have no fucking idea. I'm so stupid about shit.
They just had the Winter Olympics. That's gonna be the summer in 2 years.
Oh,
that's
great.
Right.
Well, then we're gonna have to get on the basketball team then.
Okay, we'll do that. All right.
Yeah.
So what do you have going? What do you want to promote? Where can people find you on social media?
Oh
Alex?
my gosh, this is a podcast. So go on the thing that you're listening to this podcast on. Type in the Star Wars New Canon Book Club. Type in the Chilluminati podcast. Type in the Dex podcast. All these things are things I do. Pokemon. I do a paranormal conspiracy theory podcast for fun. I'm not.
What the fuck is the Chilluminati podcast? I never heard of that. When did you start that?
It's like only on episode 15. It's me and Jesse Cox and Mathis, and we just hang out and we talk about paranormal things. We talk about true crime sometimes. It's a good.
You got to have me on that as a guest. I love that shit.
Yeah. We just had our first guest just this time. So yeah, we're.
I'm not an expert stuff, but like the Golden State Killer stuff, I was all following that stuff forever.
Yeah, it's super cash. It's super like for fun more than it is about like
the Chilluminati. That's a great name.
Yeah. If you like Star Wars books, check us out there. I'm the only Star Wars fan who holds Star Wars up to the standard of other published works that have ever been published before. Like
Great Expectations, you mean? Like these Star Wars
Yes,
books?
Yes. Good writing is good writing. They don't get a pass because it's good writing for Star Wars. Get out of here. Come listen to it. I liked The Last Jedi. Davis hated The Last Jedi. There's a 4-hour podcast about that.
4 hours? I liked it, but There's a lot of issues, but I still liked it overall. I'm not talking about it for 4 hours.
Yeah, but we address the elephant in the room is all I'm saying.
Okay.
There's good stuff there. Find me out there. Find me on Super Beard Bros. Go watch the Dex. Hopefully I put out a video of the new computer I bought today doesn't also explode. Thank you for having me on. This
has been great, and like I said, you were someone that I just met like really a year and a half ago. The past few years I don't really talk to you, and now like I fucking love you, Alex. I mean, I really do.
Yeah, I value the friendships that I forge, and they're all real. That's the best thing about it.
All right, take care.
Peace out, dude.
What would it be like if we all listened more. Listening to audiobooks motivates us, inspires us, even brings us closer together. There's no better place to listen than Audible, because now Audible members get even more exclusive audio fitness programs, audiobooks, Audible originals, and more. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet, and now with Audible originals, the selection has gotten even more custom with content made for members. Right now, I'm listening to Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. I've been watching the Jack Ryan saga on Amazon Prime, and Rainbow Six goes along with that a little bit with some of the characters interspersed there, and it's a great story. So it's exciting, it's thrilling. Hopefully they make a movie about it, but you can listen to the book on Audible. Every month, Audible members get 1 credit good for any audiobook they choose, plus 2 Audible originals from a changing selection that they can't get anywhere else. They also get access to audio fitness and health workouts created exclusively for Audible. And the books are yours to keep. With Audible, you can go back and re-listen anytime, even if you cancel your membership. Didn't like your audiobook? Exchange it, no questions asked. Start a 30-day trial and your first audiobook free. Go to audible.com/notsocommon or text not so common to 500-500. That's audible.com. It's AUDIBLE.com/not-so-common, and your first audiobook is free with your 30-day trial. Get going today. You can do it with audiobooks. I'm proud to be partnering with HelloFresh. HelloFresh is a meal kit delivery service that shops, plans, and delivers step-by-step recipes and pre-measured ingredients so you can just cook, eat, and enjoy. There's something for everyone with HelloFresh. 3 plans to choose from: classic, veggie, and family. Each box is made up of fresh, responsibly obtained ingredients from carefully selected farms and high-rated, trusted sources. Each week there's a 20-minute meal on the classic menu when you really don't have time to do more than that. You don't have an hour or 2 hours. A nice 20-minute meal. Quick and easy to get going and quicker into your belly. Rediscover the excitement of cooking. You can know what's, know something's on the way with, you're excited about it. You know that they have some good stuff coming on. You can prepare for it ahead of time. That's good as well. It's simple and convenient. It's not a chore. You don't spend all night in the kitchen throwing ingredients together and pots and pans going. It's all pre-measured for you and handy labeled meal kits. You know what goes with which recipe you receive. There's many benefits to subscribing. You spend less time meal planning and grocery shopping each week. You get out of that recipe rut. You don't have to worry about looking through mom's old cookbook. It's all done for you. Start cooking outside your comfort zone, though, as well, by discovering new, delicious recipes. All right, so here's a special offer going on right now. For a total of $60 off your first order, that's $20 off your first 3 boxes, visit HelloFresh.com/notsocommon60 and enter notsocommon60 at checkout. So I just recently made a few different things. I made a pork loin meal with potatoes that was fantastic, and that was only about a half hour, about 40 minutes total, in order to get that from the ingredients to the table. I also made with a friend. They had this taco pizza. It was great. They're like these flatbreads. You put the taco meat on there, tons of meat, very filling, very good. Again, for this special offer, which is $60 off, which is $20 off your first 3 boxes, visit HelloFresh.com/notsocommon60 and enter code notsocommon60 at checkout. And get going with your cooking today with HelloFresh. That just about wraps it up for this Not So Common podcast. If you want to help support me, check out some of my partners that I spoke about before, HelloFresh and Audible. You can also subscribe to this podcast. You can subscribe on YouTube or your podcast platform of choice, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, or whatever you use to listen to these podcasts. You can like the podcast, leave a comment to let others know how much you enjoy it or hate it. Finally, if you want to help directly support me and my endeavors, check me out. My Patreon is patreon.com/PatCountry. Oh, I also have a certain NES guidebook for sale, and also you can pre-order the upcoming Ultimate Nintendo Guide to the SNES library at ultimatenes.com. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next time.